still down there. And as I was telling you, we know that they went in, that two people were brought out, what appeared to be a man and a woman. This is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. I'm also being told there is a search warrant that is happening here, which that is something new, which may explain why they are all still there and don't appear to be leaving.
Whoa, this could be it, folks.
Being done by law enforcement, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens next, Katie.
Rock, you're number one on a breaking news, and this could finally do it. Man and woman, SWAT team. Man and woman evacuated from a SWAT team. One left, one came back. We have multiple feeds. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Holy shit. I got the whole family, you know, everybody's like,
know it's safe and secure. Then you're going to have CSI and or a recovery or evidence retrieval unit if needed.
Big break. Guys, we must stay up.
Just because SWAT would depart doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% secure. Please be safe and watch your back while you're out there.
We're going to see what happens, folks. Right now, two people have been released. Two people have been brought out of a home, I'm thinking. A male and a female. I'm going to repeat. A male and female.
People in and out of the house.
I can't eat tonight. Every time I try to eat.
I'm trying to
what is going on?
I mean, just to be totally transparent with you, we somehow made it into the perimeter, Katie, so we are very close to where this is happening. So I know.
Hey, shout out to Newsmax. This guy, heavy hook, and Dustin Nunez, and Donan Mucho.
And I also want to be respectful to law enforcement since we did manage to get so close to this happening. So
he got lucky.
I haven't seen much else.
He got lucky.
The two people came out. But I'm kind of parked. I'm trying to look around the corner where the SWAT.
I know Dustin Nunez. I want to eat.
I'm trying to like.
I want to eat.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'd say as Chief Olson said, I would make sure they know why you're there and what you're doing, given their high stress levels in their investigation.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Chief. Given the amount of firepower we have here, we have two SWAT trucks. Brian mentioned a number.
All eyes, folks, are on SWAT, Sheriff, FBI. They're all there, Debbie. All of them.
Is going to lead somewhere. But we also saw this earlier in the week down in Rio Rico, and it ended up not producing a suspect.
Folks, Palon, right now, I repeat, a male and female, don't know what the age is, don't know the race. They have been brought out. I missed it. Once again, I say it as it is. Shout out to News Nation reporter Brian. You want to call whatever it is, lucky, right place at the right time. At the same token, guys, let's hope that Nancy's alive. It would be a miracle. But in any event, I would say if they have SWAT team, FBI, multiple sheriff all together, I want everybody to listen up. I would say this is it. There's lots of SWAT team, guys. We only see one because they're not letting the media in. That tells me, folks, that this is going to be the end of this situation. They got a lead. They confused the reporters. I don't know why or whatever happened there. I got JLR right here. This is his scene right here.
Without giving the exact location, how far away this is.
We got multiple feeds. I'm right here.
Yeah, it's about 2 miles away. So not very far at all.
2 miles.
2 miles, like, maybe a 10-minute.
Oh, shit. What did I just do? I lost everything. Shit. Hold on.
How far away this is from the initial crime scene?
Yeah, it's about 2 miles away.
I want you guys to hear that.
Not very far at all. 2 miles, like, maybe a 10-minute drive from what I can tell. Seems like a relatively nice neighborhood. I mean,
it's 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house. I will stop talking in a minute. I'll try. 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house. JLR, he was going, yeah, house. I was laughing because he's driving with this guy. He goes, how far more? How far? Everybody wants to be there and see this, and hope that she's alive.
Quickly before we go, there are a number of law enforcement agencies and volunteers, but there are also Tucson PD, state police. How do you think the coordination is done so far?
capturing and verifying.
It's been pretty good without being on the scene or actually commanding this incident. It's going to be challenging. I can say in this region, it is fairly distinctively a tight-knit group, and that's historically the way it's been. Katie, my son went to U of A the same time you did, so bear down, but he reminded me of the close-knit kind of community that's down there. With that said, the state of Arizona is very tied into the Fusion Center. I stood that up in 2003, Actic and Phoenix. So intelligence is being distributed.
Sorry, guys, I'm outside.
And I know they're getting it in a half a second, so it's very powerful there.
All right, Brian Engine, thank you.
Halon, thank you. I had to go outside. It's my son's birthday tomorrow. My wife's decorating the room. I got people here, so I'm outside smoking a cigar with you guys, hanging out and hoping for the best. See, they're not letting the media.
All right, everybody, and welcome to Jesse Weber Live. I'm going to be taking over right now. So as you see, we're beginning in Arizona with some breaking news in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The Pima County Sheriff's Department has activated both their SWAT team and their mobile command unit. At one point in the evening, they were just in a staging operation, and now it appears that 2 individuals have been detained. Now, we believe it is a man, it is a woman. We haven't been able to identify who these individuals are yet. I'm going to bring on Brian Enton in a minute, who's on the ground within the perimeter of where this is happening. And let me just add this.
Let's go!
Exclusive in this.
Find this woman. Find these horrible people.
Which I believe is at a location that is 1.9 miles away from Nancy's house in the Pima County area. But remember what this happens. Let's just put it into context, okay? You're 13 days in. This comes on the heels of the sheriff, Chris Nanos, telling News Nation that investigators found DNA samples
I think they got him, folks.
Home belonging to someone that wasn't Nancy or anyone that was close to her. You know, that's interesting, considering early on authorities seemed to have indicated there was no forensic or DNA evidence of the suspect. So what changed? Now, after an investigation, again, that stretched on for 13 long days, now we have to ask, within the next hour, are we going to get confirmation that authorities have finally made an arrest? And more importantly, is Nancy Guthrie still alive?
Okay, in the chat, guys, is she alive? Any possibility, yes or no? Wire in. Is Nancy Guthrie alive? Here we go.
Brian, thanks so much. Okay, for anybody who's just joining us this hour, lay out where you are. I know you can be limited in what you can say because you don't want to jeopardize an active investigation that's happening, but lay out what you're seeing right now at this hour and what we can expect to see.
Yeah, so we're about 2 miles, Jesse, maybe a little under 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. It's still active, a SWAT operation that was out here. I would say about 24 deputies, FBI agents, 2 big SWAT vehicles from the
9:02 Arizona time, folks. 9:02.
Into this neighborhood. I've lost track of time. We've probably been here for about an hour.
Welcome in, guys. Come on in. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm told that they were conducting an operation.
Let's watch this together, guys. Smash that like. Thank you.
Investigation. They went into a home in this neighborhood. They brought 2 people out. It appears that it was a man and a woman. And beyond that, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens next. None of the SWAT vehicles have left yet. None of the deputies have left yet. In fact, only more have arrived since we've been here. I am told that there may also be a traffic stop that happened around the same time, very close by, that could also be connected to this operation happening here at this house. So there's a perimeter that's been set up around the neighborhood, and we are inside the perimeter, very close to the house. So we're just trying to kind of lay low right now while we just try to stay out of the way and see sort of how this unfolds from here. You know, there was in Rio Rico, remember I was on your show the other night, yeah. It felt very similar, that operation. The same amount of resources.
A lot of rain's coming down in Arizona as well.
Nothing, it seems. They ended up letting the guy go. So I don't want to jump to any conclusions here that this is going to be a big break in the case. But at the same time, we do know that this is connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. We have confirmed that, Jesse.
And similar to the...
All right, it's been confirmed. It's been identified that this SWAT team
this can take
is
some time, but clearly
has 100% of this woman here, Nancy Guthrie, investigation
is worth looking
for
into.
13
I know
long
you said earlier,
days
on Katie,
have
that you
finally,
couldn't tell
perhaps,
whether or not these individuals
come
were
to an
placed
end.
in handcuffs or whether or not they were given verbal commands and told to leave. Is there any identifying descriptions you can give of these individuals? Did they appear young? Did one appear older than the other? Were they, let's say, a mother and a son? Were they? Did they appear to be close in age? Anything?
Yeah.
Any identifying information you can give about this woman and man that were let out of the house?
It may have been a mother and a son.
Mother and a son.
Appears to me. Again, we're gonna have to wait. It's dark out here. It's rainy, which doesn't help. But it appeared to be a mother and a son. And I don't know if they're still here or if there hasn't really been anyone who's really left. So I'm assuming they're still in a squad car or something. When we first got here, I mean, we got here right when the SWAT team got here. And we put the windows down right away just to listen, because sometimes when you get on these scenes, you'll hear flashbangs or you'll hear them on the loudspeaker,
Breaking news.
Telling people to come out. We didn't hear anything like that. There was nothing loud. There was
Possible
no
a
flashbang.
mother
There was
and
no,
a son, folks.
Police
Mother and a
saying,
son.
come out, hands up. So I'm assuming it seems what happened here, they basically surrendered. They came out without any sort of issue from what I can tell.
Wow.
Just because it's been
They
quiet
surrender
ever since they got here.
Wow.
But similar to Nancy's neighborhood, it's just so dark. I mean, there's no street lights, and it's kind of difficult to get a detailed look at what's happening.
And just to clarify, I mean, you said there might be this, simultaneous traffic stop that happened. I am curious about the wait, right? Because there was this idea of you getting word that some operation was taking place, and it didn't happen immediately. So my mind is thinking, okay, did they wait for the execution of a search warrant to go in, or were they waiting for someone to come home? Was there any catalyst that you saw that happened for them to actually remove these individuals from the house? Was there something that changed?
So what happened is we heard earlier through sources that something may go down tonight, and that the SWAT team was staging in a certain location in Pima County. And that means that they all meet in one place that's not at the sheriff's office, and they just wait to get the call. And they got the call. We didn't know if they would, but they got the call, and so that's how we ended up here. I don't know what made them decide to go at that very moment.
I think they got the suspects, guys. I got a text message. I think they got the suspects.
Sources again, but just based on the puzzle.
Once again, if you're just coming in, male and female, possible older woman, a younger male, could be a mother and son, could be a school teacher, student. We just don't know.
But I still got to iron that part out, and how the traffic stop fits in exactly to why they also went into the house, and why they're doing the search warrant here.
And have you seen Sheriff Nanos on the scene yet?
He's at Arizona State basketball team game.
I haven't, but that I wouldn't, from my vantage point now, I wouldn't be able to point him out. I mean, there's just so many deputies out here. He was out at the, and I think I told you this last time, he was out at the, when we were in Rio Rico a couple nights ago and something similar happened, he was there. So, and this is much closer, to Tucson.
Where's the sheriff?
So,
is he there?
I would imagine,
Maybe.
If this is serious, he probably has come out here, but I haven't seen him myself.
Okay, and by the way, the reason I ask is because he's been a central figure in this. He was on Elizabeth Vargas' show earlier today. I mean, it seems that the Pima County Sheriff's Office was doing damage control after the report came out that they weren't sharing evidence with the FBI, and that the evidence that they collected, including the gloves, was sent to a private lab and not Quantico, and indicated, that they did find some DNA evidence.
Imagine living in that house right there.
And as, by the way,
let me just say this, folks, that's not the house, but imagine living in this neighborhood, and it's a big profile case for 13 days, and you got SWAT team, FBI, police, reporters everywhere, lights up on Friday the 13th.
6 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house of a questionable individual. You have the idea of the recovery of the gloves.
And when I say Friday the 13th, I mean Friday the 13th. I'm not making a joke. This is crazy.
That was being worn by that individual in the surveillance footage at Nancy's house. And on top of that, the DNA.
Oh, who's that?
I said in the top, and correct me if I'm wrong, You had said all day
That looked like
this is a
JLR. I
major
think it was.
development. We have DNA evidence of
I think that was him
someone
walking
who
across.
is not Nancy or not connected to Nancy. But isn't it strange that I remember at the beginning of this investigation when they looked at the house, they said there was no DNA, there was no forensic material leading to a suspect. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know what changed unless unless the FBI went back in, or it was a tip that I know they were going in and out of houses, but that seems strange to me.
Yeah, they said a lot of things.
That wasn't him then.
changed,
He's got-
frankly.
yeah,
But,
okay.
You're right. I mean, it's a huge development. The fact that they found DNA in the house, that's not Nancy Guthrie's and not someone connected to Nancy Guthrie, so a stranger, perhaps the person who kidnapped her. And you'd have to imagine now that they have this DNA, when they get into a situation like this, where I'm told this is connected to the Nancy
Kathy,
Guthrie
thank you so much for helping the channel out. Appreciate you.
What they can do right away is swab for DNA.
Bronze
yes,
medal.
It's going to take some time to test and to send out and see if there's a connection.
All right, let's
But,
give them
you
credit.
know,
News
that's
Nation
obviously something
was
that they're gonna
the
start doing now
first
that we know
at
they have
SWAT
DNA from inside the house.
situation,
Okay,
and I
Brian,
called
stay
it.
with us.
We all
So
seen it
Shannon said
earlier, Heavy.
let
Thank
us know.
you.
We'll jump right back to you, but we're going to have you during
Heavy
the course
Hook,
of the
thank
hour
you,
as
my
well.
friend.
I want to bring on John Bueller, okay, former detective on the Scott Peterson case. We had him on earlier in the week. And we also have Kieran Ramsey.
We were
former
on
FBI
live.
Chief Investigative Officer at
We were
Global
on
Reach.
live, and
Gentlemen,
we've
great
seen
to have
it.
you both here. John, I'll start with you. Significant development, deja vu. I had you on the other night.
Hey, Big
We were
Roger
seeing this
4,
happen
appreciate the
similar.
high five, my friend.
Your
God
thoughts
bless
on
you.
what you're hearing
Thank
from
you.
Brian right now.
Well, based on what Brian said, it sounds like they might be onto something here. It's not an absolute, of course. It's not unusual for them to handcuff people that are being detained only. There is something that had to.
No, we have not heard that yet, Polar Bear.
And of course, they may have been waiting out there long enough to get a search warrant, because you can't just barge into somebody's house unless there's exigent circumstances.
So,
which suggests
search
to
warrant.
me that Nancy is not in there, because you probably would have seen something about that by now. So, people of interest, possibly somebody related. The DNA that was just found at the house, not associated with any family.
Anybody ever watch The Sopranos? So when I say search warrant, huh? Search warrant, when he told the housekeeper, don't let him in, search warrant. Folks, if you're just coming in, SWAT detains 2 individuals in Nancy Guthrie's case. Apparently, by News Nation, they were first. So we could say we were all part of it on our live earlier, because News Nation either got lucky and we're there before any of the other media, Fox, CNN, JLR, any other. Not that we're competing at all. And a man and a woman. The woman who looks to appear to be older than the male. So it could be a mother and son. It could be, I'm saying it could be a teacher, some woman, and 2 individuals, like all of us have been saying on these lives. A lot of us have been saying it's not one person. It could be 2. It could be 3. Well, so far there's 2. Where are we at? Well, thank you. Fat Sal 619, appreciate you. No. Well, it's close. About 1.25 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. Now, that home there is not the home. This is a neighbor's home. You have a sheriff department blocking off the street. They don't want any of the media there. Why? Well, the obvious reasons, folks. They don't want to, well, they got 2 people out, but they, just in case there's another suspect, or maybe a weapon, maybe some explosion, right? I'm just throwing this out there, any of that. Also, keep in mind, it could be a body in there, or very well could be Nancy alive, who they kept, giving her water, giving her food, getting her medicine. So, guys, let's tune in. I have a feeling this might be a long night. I hope not.
That time does not favor the hostage.
Crime scene.
Point blank, right there. On top of that, again, with
here we go, look.
intentional dissemination of the video.
Look how close.
Intentional sharing about the fact that Now there's been DNA found at the residence that's not associated with the family. So these are things that are being put out there to crowdsource. And we've learned a tremendous amount in a short time with the analysis and just public analysis, let alone law enforcement analysis of that individual that's seen in this video. But there is a tipping point here.
Who's
right?
that?
We
Who's that?
expect law enforcement to crowdsource for help,
That's a reporter?
not because we see the face, but
That's
we
a
see all
reporter.
these other clues that somebody could easily recognize.
That's a
But
reporter.
at the same time, as we do that, you're exerting pressure, you're closing the ecosphere of the individuals responsible or individual responsible for this, and they're starting to feel tremendous pressure, which again, very well could be foreboding for the victim here.
And
Okay,
it's
I just want to
raining.
reset where we're at.
In
Okay, so
Arizona.
News Nation exclusively learned about this SWAT operation that is almost 2 miles away from Nancy's house. 2 people have been brought out, have been detained. We don't know who they
Oh,
are.
okay.
Man, woman,
Thank you,
Brian
Heavy Hook.
Anton is within
Reporter
the
from
perimeter.
another
We're being
outlet.
told
That's
that
who
a
that
search
was.
warrant
It's
is
raining
being
there, folks.
executed.
Pouring rain.
This is a connection with the Nancy Guthrie case. We have no idea in what way, but as I keep mentioning, it is happening at the end of a day where we got a ton of information and potential progress in this case. John, back to you. How long is this operation going to last? I mean, again, I'll tell you what happened. The other night, Brian Enton's on the scene. I'm covering it with him. We're wondering how long this is going to happen. They execute a search warrant in Rio Rico. By the time I got off air at 1 a.m. Eastern. By the time I woke up, like 4 or 5 hours later, they had already cleared the guy. So what can we expect now in the next several hours?
Well, it's kind of a crapshoot on that. If they're really in the crosshairs and it looks like DNA matched them and there's things in their past that might
Who are
suggest
they,
they
guys?
have some
Take a guess in the chat.
involvement,
Who are
you
they?
separate them, you interview them. You might turn up the heat and turn it into an interrogation. If they don't ask for an attorney, you kind of work one against the other and hope one of them is going to give up the other so that they can find Nancy wherever she's at. If they're going to be doing a search warrant there and it looks like they're tied into the abduction, I wouldn't expect them to be done with that warrant for several hours because there's going to be a lot of things.
Betty,
to look
welcome
for
in.
the
Yeah, a lot of
house.
rain in.
And just like Director Ramsey said, there it is.
Not unusual. It rains
does
in
show the
Arizona
pressure
this time of
on
year.
the bad guys that took her. I assume it's probably 2, but we can never be sure on that. The only good thing about that is as the pressure mounts on them, we can always hope that one is going to decide that maybe it's better to be a witness, collect the reward, and rat out the other one. That's the one thing that we can always hope for. Doesn't always work that way, but hopefully that'll be the case this time, and we could make sure that Nancy's returned home safely.
John, is the first thing they're trying to do locating clothing or items worn by that suspect in this house and maybe trying to recover DNA that matches whatever DNA they found in Nancy's house? Is that the immediate?
What's going on, Steve?
Well, I think clothing, number one, but then of course you're looking for artifacts
Welcome
that
in.
belong to Nancy herself. You'd be looking at computers, cell phones, laptops, tablets, anything like that.
What's
might
going
have
on,
something.
Jerry?
Maybe you're looking for hotel receipts to show travel or anything like that. Anything that would link it into somebody else without knowing the criminal history of these 2 people. And maybe they have a clean history, never been in trouble before. But if they do have a history, then you're going to be looking at them more closely to see who their associates are, who they've been arrested with in the past, who they've been to prison with or anything like that. I don't know for sure what their history is, so we can't really say for sure, but that's where they're going to be going. So you don't just have the people that are there working the warrant, you got other people at headquarters that are running the bio on these people that are trying to determine who everybody is in their universe.
Yeah, this is an interesting development. John Mueller, Kieran Ramsey, thank you very much as we're covering this. I want to let everybody know, obviously we're going to continue to jump back into this, but I want to let everybody know about something else. So on Saturday, you can watch News Nation's very own Brian Enton anchor a News Nation special report. It's called Missing the Nancy Guthrie Mystery. It's live from Arizona.
I got to charge up, guys.
Eastern, 7
Sorry.
Central,
I apologize.
Here on News Nation. If you want all the information, I definitely encourage you to take a look at it. Now, let me tell you, earlier tonight, okay, I talked with somebody who knows all too well what it is like to be in the middle.
What's going on,
of a
Billy Barry?
high-profile criminal case. Amanda Knox, remember her? She has been in the global spotlight since 2007 when she was accused of murdering her roommate in Italy. And for years, she fought to clear her name. She was ultimately exonerated. So I asked her, with everything going on right now, what is it like to go through an ordeal in the public eye, and what may it be like for the Guthrie family?
their worst nightmare is playing out in a very public way, and it's one that they have so little control of. Like, I think the thing that I am really empathizing with for them right now is their just deep helplessness. Like, they don't know where their mother is and if she's okay and who the people who did this and why. Like, it's just everything about it is so deeply personal and painful, and they're so helpless in this moment, and all of us are watching it happen, and that puts a lot of pressure on them to like perform their grief and like to do the right things so that their mother is safe, and like there are no right answers. And so I truly feel for them, and I hope that they know that yes, there is a lot of attention on them right now.
Hey folks, welcome in. I'm Sal. Within the last 25, 30 minutes or so, we've been covering the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, we were live together. It looked like it was kind of a standstill. I told everybody, I said, this might not be, they were kind of like dying out. The News Nation's been there the whole time, folks. But other news outlets were like, they weren't in the right spot. Now, I don't know if that was to keep as much news out of that area, or it was just they didn't hear the right information. That's up to you guys to decide. But what do we know? We know the DNA came back. It ruled out the family. However, there's been SWAT team. He's picking up the cones. Sheriff Department, as you can see here. FBI, everybody at this scene. You can see here SWAT. They've taken out a older woman, don't know the age, seems like an older face woman, and a younger man that been detained. And I did not see that. I'm only reporting because I missed it. I'm only reporting what News Nation said. I did not see, but they said a woman and a younger man. Who are they? Who are they? Who are those two individuals that are detained in custody? Could they messed up again? Is it possible? It's so hard to believe that they finally got the suspects, right? And I can also say, is there somebody else involved? I would say, why is the SWAT team still there? Well, in my opinion, they're searching. Searching for the body, whether it's alive or unalive. They're also searching for evidence, more DNA, so they can put a slam dunk and charge these people for the crime. So, there's a couple of reasons why they're still there. I have a feeling they're going to be there for several hours. They're not going to let the media go past these cones. I can tell you that for sure. They're not going to let the media go anywhere farther than those cones. And that's what we have. So what we're going to hear probably sooner than later, who are these people? Who is this woman? Who's this woman and younger man? Who are they? And yes, it's been raining. It's not unusual. Las Vegas got a little rain today. It does rain in the desert, particularly this time of the year. Looks like it's actually rain has stopped, but nonetheless, it's been raining all day there. Now, the second thing is the location. It's very close to Nancy Guthrie's home, like a mile away, a little over a mile to be exact. It's still in Tucson, Arizona. So the whole time, it's crazy, guys. The whole time that we've seen other independent journalists, just for their safety, and not to sound rude, but we've seen other independent journalists. It's not easy out there, guys. And other news outlets like Fox and CNN, they were not close to the location. They were like 25 miles away. Am I right, Heavy Hook? So the other media was confused. But News Nation, they got lucky. Or you can say they did their homework. You can say they got lucky, or they just took a deep breath and, And again, guys, everybody, it's not about who got them. It's about or who got them. It's not about who arrives here. It's about, we all been following this for 13 days, 14 days almost, and we want justice. I think everybody on here all want these people in custody, which they are, and then find out who's behind the ransom letters. I can tell you what they're doing right now to the woman and the man, young man. I can tell you what they're doing. They're probably already at the jail. I would assume they're there. They gave them some water. They're going to get them real relaxed, folks. Real relaxed. They're going to put them in separate rooms. Separate rooms. And they're going to say, hey, do you know there's a reward out? And they're going to say, what reward? We want an attorney. Oh, we understand you want an attorney. But do you understand why you're being detained? And they're going to hope that they come out. And then they're going to interrogate them. They're going to say, hey, who did it? We know one of you wrote the letters. Who wrote the letters? We'll make your time in prison a little less. Okay? I wrote the letter. Okay, fine. Who wrote the letter? Who did what and where to this beautiful 84-year-old woman? And that's where they're going to try to catch them, and then hopefully catch what they say with the DNA. They already probably know. I'm assuming they already know who actually did this horrible thing. And there's also a possibility, guys, that Nancy's alive. So let's tune in, guys. Come on in. Tell your friends and come on in, guys, as we can all kind of try to make sense of this. Now I'm going to go back to I had to sit down for a little bit, guys. I'm outside. My wife threw me outside. No, I'm just kidding. They're getting ready for my son's birthday. So I came outside. The good news is I can smoke a cigar and try to relax here and hope for the best. Got to remember, guys, this is a woman out there. It's an 84-year-old woman here. We got to keep our thoughts and God and hope that the family can get some closure. Uh-oh. He's like, hey, I hope that guy had some coffee. That police, he's going to be out there all night until he goes to the bathroom break. All right, I'm going to go back up. Right. That's that old man sound. You guys hear my old man sound? I'm tired. Hey, welcome in, Australia. My way or no way. I'm just kidding. Welcome in. What's going on is they have not found Nancy, but they have two suspects. Hold on, guys. Let me lower my iPad. I got two feeds going. We have two suspects that are detained in custody, whatever you want to call it. We have a SWAT operation that went there probably about an hour ago. News Nation reported older female and a younger male. So a female and a younger male has been described from News Nation. They were coming out of the house, not the house I'm showing, guys. I don't want to get in trouble. The house behind me is just another house. Let me trying to charge. What the hell's wrong? But this is a neighborhood. Oh, it is still raining. So I would say within I don't know, maybe 1,000 feet from this house, I'm guessing maybe 500 feet. That's where they found these two suspects. Now, it is about a mile from Nancy's house, so they were really, you know, guys, what do we all say? What did 99.9% of us say on our previous lives yesterday? And thank you all of you so much. I can't count how much support we're getting. We appreciate it. We're a small YouTube channel. We appreciate it. But what do we all say? A lot of us. I said most of the time, we all said most of the time, what happens? These crimes, whoever does these crimes, are relatively caught or live or whatever nearby. It seems like more times than none. Not all the time. Sometimes they're in another state. Sometimes they're in another country. I get it. Sometimes they're 10 miles away. but I would say majority of the time, they catch the suspects, plural, suspects tonight, a mile away. And boy, they were right in that neighborhood, Mr. Falzools. Right in that neighborhood. Guys, if you are off and you don't have to work, get your coffee. If you can drink caffeine or get some water, whatever, tune into this because I think it's going to be going on for a little while. Great question. What led them to these guys? I don't know. I would suppose it was a tip my way. I would suppose, my friend, great question, that somebody gave him a tip, or or the DNA from the glove brought him to that location, or a combination. What is this? I mean, I'll put some volume up here.
Again, this is exclusive video we obtained of what this traffic stop is. We'll try to break it down in real time. What are you seeing right now?
Well, what I did see for a moment there looked like a white van, and perhaps that's something that vehicle right there, if that's the vehicle that they have stopped, and that would tie into this because remember there was reports of a white van at the beginning of this. So you want to, maybe that's one of the leads they have to go down. What I wanted to say was you had a perfect guest on and you have a great guest on right now that can compare this to another great case that was worked, which was the Lacey Peterson case. And as Mr. Garagos knows, and as John knows, that there were people that were saying, what about this direction? And the detectives had to go in that direction and just say that, no, it wasn't this because we ran that lead down as well. And that's what has to be done in a case like this. You just can't take for granted that these leads aren't tied in, but even if they aren't, it was reported, there was some credibility to get the warrant. You have to say why something did or did not fit into the criteria.
So, Mark, here's my concern, okay? The lawyer in me, here's my concern. They're talking about collecting evidence. We may be seeing progress here, but you had a crime scene that was closed and then opened and then closed, and our very own reporter was there and was able to see the blood stains, walk right by it. You have an issue of gloves that were found seemingly baking in the heat for quite some time before they were recovered. DNA that was apparently found in the house. When I mentioned with Brian earlier, I mean, I thought the initial reports were they found no forensic material in the house and there was no DNA in the house tying back to a suspect. So even if they were to make an arrest.
How ironic, guys.
A problematic
13 days
case,
on Friday the 13th. One day before Valentine's Day.
I don't think
there's a possibility that Nancy's alive. Let's pray, but let's also hope that they got the correct suspects in custody.
That there was what looked to be an evidence tent that was constructed at the house. My suspicion was yesterday that they were trying to create, based on the timing at the time of night, they were trying to recreate a scenario, if you will, that had the same ambient light of the time when that video was taken. And why would they do that? They would do that for a number of reasons. Number one, they want to try to isolate the actual colors of the clothing, of the various pieces of evidence that they can spy through the video camera that they were able to retrieve. And I also, and this is speculation, but I think it makes some sense, if you take a look at that video of the Ring camera or Nest camera, you were looking at, there was a pretty good video shot of the eyes behind the mask. Now, I suspect they've got iris biometrics, and I think somebody was trying to recreate the ambient light so that they could then tune up the video so that it would recreate what it would look like in order to see if they could do some kind of iris biometrics to identify somebody, like when you go to the airport for clear, if you're in DOD and you've got something like that, or even sometimes in some locations the DMV. Now, fast forward a day later, basically, we've heard about this white van, and to the detective's credit, he remembers the brown van during the Peterson case, but that became a plethora of tips that you have to follow up on. So if they had the tips, they then found something yesterday during this kind of forensic experiment or recreation that they were doing. It doesn't surprise me that today they're following up on that and at least doing another search to see if what they've discovered so far pans out.
You just led me into something I wanted to talk about next. Okay, we have to take a quick break, but here's the thing. I want everybody to stay with us as we're monitoring this situation, but Mark laid it out perfectly. You know why? We now have an unofficial sketch of the suspect that was created by a legendary forensic artist. Is this the guy? All the details next.
Wow. Wow. Is that what you were talking about earlier, Hook?
Put your moderate to severe.
Wow, did you guys? That sure looked like him.
With Rinvoq, a once daily.
Guys,
and it works
guys, that sure looked like him, didn't it?
2 weeks with Rinvoq. Check.
It helped visibly repair my intestinal lining. Check.
And I got lasting.
That looked like more. Guys, my first instinct. That's the guy. That looks like the guy. You know, and I put the post up. You know, and when I say this, guys. He looks like a Latino. Whoa. Wow. That looked like the suspect. That very well could be the guy in custody right now, detained. But who's the woman? Who's the woman? The mom? Is it the mom? Who is the woman? We will find out. Man, we're all wrapped into this, guys. I know. It's like, it's one of those situations like, what did I say? We might be looking back and say, I knew that's who they were. Or we might be looking at it and saying, we didn't see this coming. However, a lot of yous on here, a lot of yous on there, on here now, on the last live, thank you so much being here, have said this. Not me, but a lot of you. So props to everybody who said, Sal, it's a woman and a man. I've heard that. I heard that. You guys cracked the case. Yo, seriously, all joking aside, a lot of yous on here said a woman and a man. I've been saying 2 people. Well, that's the obvious. I think a lot of us have been saying 2. There could be 3. There could be another person. We will find out.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing.
All right, I just wanted to welcome everybody in. They're on a commercial break, guys. You're not missing anything. Not missing anything.
Contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Yes, you did. Heavy hook.
This is no time to wait.
A lot of people said male and female. Male and female. What's going on? What's going on tonight? Well, about an hour ago, I got to tone down my voice. Man, I get loud. I'm outside. I got neighbors behind me. But it's Friday night. Let's hope for the best. On Friday the 13th, it was unlucky, possible, for these suspects. They finally might have got captured. The next step. Who was behind it? Was it both? Yes or no? You think the 2 people were behind it? Or 1? We know 2 have been in custody or detained. Who wrote the letters? Who had the great spelling? And then who had the muscles, so to speak? Who had the muscles to actually go into the home and take Nancy, an 84-year-old beautiful woman, out to the house about a mile away? Now, we don't know if somewhere between Nancy's house and the house that the SWAT team came, that's where they brought Nancy. Let's just make that clear. I better be careful. It's not about being careful. I don't want to confuse everybody. We don't know. All we know is that's where they called him at, right? Let's be honest. See here. Annie wrote the letters, Brian says. Hey, welcome back in, Brian. I just want to be clear with everybody. All we know is SWAT team went there. It was a routine road stop again. And I'm looking at the sheriff here. And we have 2 in detained. Male and female. Female looks a little bit older. As TMC said, TMC, News Nation says, it could look like a mother and a son, meaning an older woman and a younger man. All right, I'm gonna turn the camera around. We'll look at another feed here. Look at JR's until News Nation comes back on. Thank you for the likes, appreciate it.
What do you girls think?
No, I'm from Philly. Philly, South Jersey. All right, here we go. I gotta get up.
SWAT team has descended on a home, removing 2 people from the residence. We've learned this home is less than 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, and there is this related traffic stop that reportedly also happened nearby. We were showing exclusive footage that we obtained of that traffic stop, and to be clear, we mentioned this before, you see a white van. Why is that important? Because there were reports of what arguably was a suspicious white van seen by neighbors in that neighborhood before Nancy's disappearance. I've always wondered whether or not that is connected with the request by law enforcement to neighbors to try to look for any footage they have all the way now back to January.
Yeah, there's
1st.
that white van that you've all been talking about on the chat
That's
tonight.
something to consider. Now, I will let you know this. News Nation was the first media outlet on the scene. Brian Enton was the first reporter on the scene. He's within that perimeter. He's keeping a very careful eye on this operation. We've been told that a search warrant is being executed, and they are searching at this property. For what, we do not know at this point. But I'll tell you what we do have. We have an unofficial forensic sketch of that masked suspect that was caught.
Take a screenshot, guys.
Doorbell cam. Remember, this is one of the key pieces of evidence. I say it's unofficial because it wasn't released by authorities, but this sketch was created by the retired Houston police forensic artist Lois Gibson. And Gibson says she studied the doorbell video.
Take a screenshot, guys.
The line on the eyes, the facial structure, what little could be seen to fill in the rest. She admits, look, she guessed at some features.
That's him.
Stresses this is not an official law
That's him.
enforcement
That's
rendering.
him.
But listen to this.
100%.
The Guinness World Record holder.
Whoa!
For, quote, most successful forensic artist. And she says her renderings have helped police identify more than 1,300 criminals.
Wow, God bless
Lois
her.
Gibson joins me right now. Thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure. Okay, a lot of people are listening to this and saying, how'd you come up with this?
Bless your heart.
Oh, I just did what I could do by filling in the parts that were covered by the mask. That's it. I could see the eyes, the bottom of the nose, the philtrum, the top of the lip, both lips, both lips, and the general outline. And I watched the guy's body move, and I got his age.
That's him.
I felt like
Dustin.
his age was about 30s, early 40s.
That's him. That's him.
How did you find the hair and like the parts that were covered and the structure of the head? I mean, it's not the grainiest photo I've ever seen. It's not a faraway shot. We have, and there is one shot.
That's the woman who drew him.
Excuse me. Maybe we could switch it up where you kind of see the eyes and the goatee, or what appears to be facial hair. It's more significant than I've seen in other cases. But again, how did you know what the hair would look like, the ears would look like?
Yeah.
You guess, but how sure are you?
I didn't know. I'm doing an educated guess, but I've worked for 43 years with various grainy surveillance photos and helped find suspects. And it's an educated guess. And if I fail, I don't care. If they can just get Nancy back, I'll be fine. I'll take the hit if I'm wrong. But I think I'm right. And I've done facial reconstructions from skulls, and I had no hair, nothing. And I've got the hair right on all the skulls except for one. So I don't know. This is my business for 43 years. In this case, is a kidnapping, and kidnapping cases are insane torture for the loved ones.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, because with all this, we sometimes get lost about what we're talking about. An 84-year-old woman who has been missing for 13 days, mobility issues, needs daily medication. There was blood outside the home. This is a dire situation, and you have a family who is desperately looking for answers. And each time this case goes in a 180, and there's reports, even though it's been fought back by the sheriff's office, of a lack of cooperation between the FBI and the sheriff's office. It just
appreciate you, Heavy Hook. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys.
For the family, so I appreciate that. I know that you created this partially just for them and to help them in this case. Did you reach out to law enforcement? Have they reached out to you for your services?
Oh no, I'm retired and I didn't want to hear bureaucrats say no. I think you understand that. And I've helped get back 8 kidnapping victims. And I've been with the loved ones that are missing their kidnapped person. And it's insane torture. It's the worst torture. It's worse than a murder, because if it's a murder, it's peaceful. It's real sad, but you can have a funeral. But I've been with people, and
I thought she did a pretty good job. What do you guys think? I'm going to give her some props for trying. I don't know. I think she did a pretty good job. What do you guys think? Yes or no? I thought she did a pretty good job.
But they don't even know. It's insane torture. So I was so frustrated. And when you're real emotional, you draw better. So I just did the best I could. And I could see the eyes, the bottom of the nose, the top of the lip, the thickness of the mustache. So I replicated that with the eye.
I couldn't do that.
Color I put in the eyebrows. And I put in hair because of his attitude, his body. He seemed spunky. He seemed energetic. He didn't seem down. I just didn't think he had a shaved head. I don't know. I have instinct.
Yeah, I knew he had a full head of hair.
Do you know what
I could do. I could.
ethnicity he is?
No, he could be Latino, white, Lebanese, Egyptian, New Zealand, Irish with dark skin. Like, I'm Irish, I got dark skin. I don't know. No, I don't know. But I've had skull reconstructions where the skull is just crushed, and it was hundreds of bones. And I got that skull made so close that the mom recognized it. So you got to have a sixth sense to do it, and you got to be a masochist. I hope they catch him tonight. I hope those people they arrested are it. And if my sketch is wrong, I'll take the hit. But I
have trouble drawing a circle, Heavy Hook. I can't even draw. I can't even draw the sun. You kidding me? This woman did a good job.
I want Nancy back. That's all.
So do a lot of people. So does
At least she tried. You know what I mean? I like people who tried.
Have Nancy be safely returned to her family. Look, you did a great service tonight. If you are accurate and somebody sees somebody, let's say in the Pima County area, the Tucson area, I was like, wait a minute.
Just ignore the spam, guys. You're gonna always have spam.
This is gonna
be
a big
break. Just ignore it.
We shall wait and see. Thank you so much, Lois. Really appreciate it. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
All right.
The Hill with Blake Berman, weeknight 6/5 Central, only on News Nation.
That's rough, but hey, with SafeLight, you can get that fixed any way you want.
Look, I thought she did a good job. I thought she, I don't know if she gets paid. Not, but I thought she did a good job. Could be a wig. I read that. I think Lebanese, Latino. Let me make this clear. All we know is a younger man and an older woman came out. He looks like to me in his 30s, late 30s. But I'm bad with age. I'm terrible. From the Pima County Sheriff Department, and we all know about News Nation. They were the first one to respond. They were at the location. They either got lucky or they followed SWAT and did their work, and they were there first. Now, what do we know is there's like I said, a male and a female a little older. I have not seen them. The sketch is amazing. That sketch looks almost identical. You know, you could almost get inside on how she did it. You know, like the eyes, the eyebrows, and the hair. And what are we looking at right now? Well, we're going to monitor the situation, and we're going to hope for the best, that there's a possibility. It will be a great story that she's alive. We need this as a country right now. We really do. It would just be just perfect in so many ways. Anyhow, they are about a mile from Nancy Guthrie's home. Now, we don't know if they were there the whole time, meaning the ransom letters. That's up to you guys. I haven't decided. We don't know. You know, have they been doing this a mile away the whole time? A. B. Were they at another location and that's where Nancy's body's at. Or C, they're not the suspects at all, and they messed up again. So that's where we're at. I would assume now they messed up before with Carlos. You know, the guy with the trash cans. That wasn't a mess up. They were just, you know, the guy with the mask. Excuse me, the guy with the backpack. Oh, here's SWAT. Wow, look at all the media there already. Look at all the people. Holy shit. Look how wow they got there. Look at all that. All the media is there. They woke them up. They were at their hotels ready to go to bed and wake up tomorrow. And you see umbrellas because it's raining. Wow, that was a lot of people there. Everybody is tuning in from Australia, all over the United States. Everybody, all eyes are on the two suspects and hoping it leads to the final piece of that puzzle that I've been talking about so many times. And have we put that puzzle together on Friday the 13th, one day before February 14th, Valentine's Day? Wouldn't that be a great piece of the puzzle? I know it's a little bit of a glare, guys. I'm trying to, you know, that light is shining right into us, you know, that from the sheriff. I can't do anything about that. I can move it over. I don't know. That's a little bit better. Once again, I just want to shout out JLR, who's been covering this situation, who's nice enough to finally get to the location and to show us this. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll just depend on can't show his ads. Newsmax is on oh, here they go. They're back. Newsmax is back. All right, let me back up.
That two people have been removed from this house. Now, we did hear reporting, and we actually showed you exclusive video of a traffic stop that was conducted in connection with this SWAT operation. You actually could see a white van, which we talked about before, that there was reports of a white van in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. Don't know if that's exactly what they were looking for, but what we can report to you now, this is new. News Nation has learned that the man who was detained during that traffic stop, again, believed to be connected to that SWAT operation, was believed to be on his way to the home where this operation happened at the time of the traffic stop. We don't know if he was arrested. We don't know if he was taken into custody. We're hoping to learn a little bit more information. I want to bring on legendary former homicide detective Phil Waters. Thank you so much, my friend, for taking the time. You just heard what I said. There was this traffic stop. There's a SWAT operation. You have been a part of these before. What are you seeing that we're not seeing?
Well, first thing I want to tell you is I was glad to see Lois Gibson. I had the honor and privilege of working with her for 23 years at the Homicide Division at HPD.
Her name was Nancy, Aaron. Thanks for asking, Aaron. Her name was Nancy Guthrie. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
We'll see what the results are about this sketch. In regards to the operation that we're seeing here, look, these things take place based on where the evidence is leading the detectives.
Thank you, Heavy Hook.
We are seeing enough evidence that has led them to draft a search warrant on another residence, and they are in the process of executing that search warrant.
Forensics.
Now, this individual that was stopped, if he is in fact tied to the residence where they're executing the search warrant, then again, they're doing their due diligence. I imagine this residence has been under surveillance for a number of hours. They have.
Yes, we got breaking news. Suspects in custody detained on the Nancy Guthrie.
And when the time
Possible
came to
kidnap.
execute the search warrant, that was the time to take him down and put him into custody in some form or fashion, whether he's being detained or he's actually under arrest. So what we're seeing here in real time.
Thank you, moderators, for being here. Mike, Heavy Hook,
leaving the scene.
Janine.
What does that tell you?
Well, there is something there that they're gathering evidence. I mean, they are there for the purpose of processing that particular scene. Wherever the search warrant's being executed, if this van is part of the scenario, they're going to be processing the van. I would imagine at this point, you know, we brought the FBI. People need to remember too. I know you've talked about these little disputes that have been going on, supposedly being put out there by some unnamed source within law enforcement. That is noise. It shouldn't be happening. I've been involved in these multi-agency FBI and support. The Pima County Sheriff's Office is running this investigation. It is theirs. And the FBI has been brought in as a support for resources that the Sheriff's Office doesn't have. And primarily, they're functioning with the development of the evidence in these digital forensics analysis. So you've got a whole bunch of assets here for one cause, and that is to find Nancy Guthrie and get the right person who's done the wrong thing in custody.
Now, I will just say, as somebody who's been covering this from the beginning, I wish this was day 1, you know, not day 13 in this. And remember, this comes on the heels of them saying they found DNA in her house, not of her or anybody connected to her. The problem is, Phil, what complicates this is what lab it's being sent to. There's a whole back and forth that it's not apparently being sent to, you know, the gloves not being sent to Quantico. They're sending to a private lab. Apparently this lab, as far as I can see, doesn't even have a direct connection to CODIS. But you tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I would just respectfully, look,
you don't even have to be respectful. You just tell me what you think.
Well, you know I'm going to be. But look, this lab that they sent the DNA stuff to be processed at the beginning of this, it's their scene. They're processing, and they're going to do the process in the manner in which they are consistent with. So they sent it to this lab that they've worked with for years. And just because it's a private lab that cannot directly enter into CODIS, they can provide all the results of their processing to a government agency, i.e. the FBI, the Sheriff's Office, whomever, and it will be entered into CODIS.
Right.
Oh, look at the rain.
To me, that's a red herring that's been thrown out there to confuse this thing. So I don't think it's an issue.
Fair enough. And again, this is a lab reportedly that has been in part of thousands of cases, and I believe they might even have a contract. Right. So no reason. I do want to ask you a question about this. We just got word from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. There was talk about whether or not the PIO, the Public Information.
You're welcome, Edwin.
Was going to come on the scene.
On behalf, thank you. Thanks for your asking.
Just got word there is no press briefing scheduled for tonight regarding the Nancy Guthrie investigation. A written statement is forthcoming. Why would they not want to have a press conference tonight?
Well, because they don't have a finality to the results of this search warrant that they're running, or my sense is that the person that they got on the traffic stop, if it is someone who is what I would call a possible suspect, he's on his way to an interview, would be my guess.
Right.
And they have got some kind of affirmative link between that individual and the scene at Nancy Guthrie's home. Now, I don't know if that's the DNA. Who knows what that may be. But this feels a little different than the search warrant.
I got to get some water, guys.
That was,
Hold on.
Detained, a night ago, a couple nights ago. There seems to be a little more, to me, not knowing what they have, but it seems to me there's a little bit more sense of urgency here, that this is getting them closer to the truth about what happened. And let's pray that that's in fact what is occurring. I don't find it terribly unusual. They want to get their ducks in a row before they start getting the PIO out there and start holding press conferences.
I have to just point this out, and I feel bad I have to point this out, but I have to point this out. There has been no indication that Nancy Guthrie has been taken out of this property. We haven't seen anything. Brian Enton didn't come on and say.
All right, guys, I'm going to lower a little bit, and it's just the person I am. A lot of you, I talk over it. Just to give everybody, I don't have to say this, but I will. I don't want to get any kind of copyrights. We're watching News Nation. They do a great job. We're also watching JLR investigate. It's a long day for all of us. I know you just want to hear, but the questions ask, why should there be a press conference tonight? And that man, this guy here is right, because big reason is they got a person or two, male and female, in custody, and they're probably interviewing them. So they can't hold a press conference right now to the public. There will be one probably in the morning or some point later morning tomorrow. I don't know, because they're going to question them, and they know, they're confident who they got, right? They're going to hold them together. They're going to hold them together for a few minutes and hear them both talk, and then they're going to separate them, the man and the woman, and they're going to ask questions like, okay, how long have you been in the house? Not this house, guys. That's a neighbor house, but the house that's about a mile away from Nancy Guthrie. And they're going to say, is she alive? Actually, let me back up. They'll probably say, where's the body? Is she alive? And then they're going to separate them and say, okay, were you at the house the whole time? Did you write that ransom letter? That was clever. Where did you write it at? Where did you write it at? And they're going to say, well, we wrote it at Walmart, for an example. They're going to try to catch them. They want to know if they were in that house. They want to know where they're in that location all the time. Then I assume the DNA came back. When it came back today, they ruled out the family, right? But they never said, they didn't rule anybody else out. So they knew pretty much 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, maybe, who did it. Now, some of you might be surprised about a male and a female, but there's a lot of the audience that's on here and been covering this now for 13 days with me. And before I go any farther, thank you. I really mean that. Said a male and a female. A lot of you just said that. We've worked together, covered these lives, and a lot of you were correct. So for those who are correct on the male and female, job well done. But what we need done now is, wow, look at that rain. Almost looks like it's sleet. And you can read here, the traffic stop, the SWAT. Oh, so somebody on here said, why the SWAT? Well, the SWAT is for case they didn't come out, right? Now, we know they came out. Well, you don't know. I'm telling you. They came out pretty much peace. They just came out. They volunteered to come out. The SWAT team was there just in case they had weapons, a possible explosion, guns, They don't know who's in there, guys. So they had the SWAT team. That's why the SWAT team. Great question, guys. Great question. But that's why they had a SWAT team. Because maybe they weren't going to come out peacefully. Maybe they're going to have to explode, knock the door down, take off the roof, that kind of stuff. Now, assuming it's a house, and I think it is a house because it's in a residential area. So that is why the SWAT team was there. And I think they're still there. They're still there, I think. All right, so I just wanted to bring everybody up to date and tell you why I talk over the station. And now I will let you listen a little bit more. So thank you so much for being here. I would appreciate if you guys can just help the channel out with a like. We would all appreciate on behalf of all of us.
Stop. What does that tell you?
Well, if it's
Mindy, welcome in. They didn't find her yet.
They definitely had eyes on
they got a suspects
and on this individual. And before you even got back to the place, they did the car stop. If there is anything with that van,
oh, sorry guys, my internet froze up.
That van's
sorry about that. I can't do anything about that. Okay, here it is.
They had that van towed back. And they're going through it right now. But also that location, that van must have been
back to the scene. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Brian.
As quick as they did, I don't think they had too much concentration on the inside of that house as well. But I have to agree with Phil on this. You have to go where the evidence is taking you, and often it's taking you in dribs and drabs. You don't get the rush that everybody's waiting for, to get that press conference, to get everything going. So this
Thank you, moderators.
investigation still has to go. And there's something else that's very telling. I know Phil mentioned before about, it doesn't make it, with the lab, they're comfortable going with that. But that's very telling, because if time was of the essence, they would send it to Quantico, and they would have it put into CODIS right away to tie it to something that's possibly, they'll get a lead on it. But the fact that they're sending it over there, that's kind of telling in itself. But, these investigations, when we have it, I mean, Phil and I could probably pick apart that crime scene incident left and right. We did it all day yesterday, and it leaves a lot.
Yeah.
You had Mark Garagos on there before, and he could tell you right away.
I know. There's a number of issues. I hope it doesn't affect the investigation or potential prosecution if they arrest somebody. I want you guys to stand by. By the way, I forgot my T-shirt with my blazer. I could have joined you guys. Look at this. You matched this up. My gosh. Okay. Anyway, I'm happy.
Appreciate that, Mindy.
I want to bring on
Mindy Sue. Thank you.
Anton, senior national correspondent. The first on the scene. He's within that perimeter. Brian, what are you learning?
Here's Brian.
Yeah, we actually just got moved back, Jesse, there was a whole contingent of FBI agents that came in. I'm talking like, what would you say, Mo, 10 FBI cars that just arrived. So it seems none of the deputies or FBI that went in when we first got here have left. So there's even more law enforcement now. I don't know what that means. Perhaps this is more serious than they initially thought, but a whole contingent of FBI agents just arrived at the scene, Jesse.
And they moved you back. I mean, I have to ask you, did they, you were first allowed within the perimeter for quite some time. Did they give you a reason about why you had to move back and what might be going on?
Honest with you, we were trying to be responsible and following the SWAT team. We were the first ones there. We were right there, and we were just sort of minding our own business. And I think they finally figured out that we were media, and they said, hey, you guys got to get out of here. So I kind of knew that was going to happen eventually. Yeah. And it happened, and so now we got moved out.
Well, listen, you were the first on the scene reporting this. It is pretty incredible. Correct me if I'm wrong. Besides the FBI presence, I saw forensic trucks going, leaving. I mean, what other things have you seen in terms of, because that's telling. That's telling. It gives an idea about what they might be searching for or collecting.
Yeah, we've learned that they are doing a search warrant at the house. So obviously, that's probably why you saw the forensics trucks. And I saw more of those two coming in that looked more like the FBI ones, although it's dark. It was hard to tell for sure. And we know that a man and a woman were brought out of the house, and that there is another man that was stopped at a traffic stop close by, and it all seems to be connected. We're trying to piece it all together. Granted, I don't know that all of these people are the targets or the people that law enforcement want to question connections to Nancy Guthrie. They may have just been in the house. So we're trying to sort that out, but it seems they're still here. And when we just got moved back, the deputy said, I said, are they going to be here for a long time? He goes, oh, they're going to be here for a long time. So it seems like this could go on all night here in terms
Lynette,
of
how are you?
Investigation. Again, eerily similar to what we saw the other night. For people who don't know, can you give us an idea? And I know you have to be sensitive to the operation.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can just ignore this spam.
It is.
Thank you.
Its location, its geography, and in comparison to where Nancy's
Amen.
Sorry, I just lost you. Let me call.
No worries. We're gonna get Brian back up. Again, as you just heard from Brian Enton, who's on the ground there, he had to be removed back. Basically, there's an increased FBI presence. And if that's the case, let me go back to, we got Phil Waters, we got Joe Cardinale. Phil, if there's an increased FBI presence and they're going to be, the deputies saying they're going to be there for hours, what is that saying to you?
Well, I would imagine
Pray,
response team
Nancy's
from
alive.
the FBI,
Amen.
which I have used on many occasions. They are
Welcome
great
in, everybody.
at what they
We
do.
got two in custody, a
And
male and
so
a female,
we're
about a mile
seeing
from
the
Nancy's
resources
house.
marshaled together
We got, I think, that
for
final
this
piece of the puzzle,
investigation.
guys.
So there's no, I don't see anything here unusual based on a possible kidnapping and the resources that were brought in that is being worked and work steady as to where the evidence leads them to go. So I don't see it from my perspective, and I think Joe would agree with.
Yeah, just ignore some of the spam, guys. You got some people on here just.
I know for you guys, it looks like you keep talking about what.
Gonna get what you get on these lives. Well, we have a lot of great people on here, so a lot of great people want to interact. So,
The idea of opening the crime scene, closing the crime scene, the idea of
J.E., how are you? Thanks for the comment.
Well, that's part of the process.
Okay.
I mean, that's part of the process, Jesse. You got that lead. Look, they're doing a triage on
Who did this, guys?
14,000 freaking leads.
Who did this? Who is the male? Who's the female? Put in the chat.
The one that might be
We all love to hear.
Probably are not credible. So
Who's the male? Who's the female? Let us know. What's your thoughts?
Eliminate them or pursue them. So
FBI on scene, SWAT on team. Who is it?
Nope.
Who did this horrific crime?
On here, I know it to the public, to the media who is clamoring for these.
Eric, maybe. I know what you mean.
It appears
Maybe.
to be organized confusion, but I would tell you, I think Joe would back me up on this. You're watching detective work in real time occurring.
And all I'll say is that you're 100% right. I mean, you guys are the experts. I'm not. The only thing is, in this kind of kidnapping case, that is the problem.
It never is.
It's never is. So, I mean, Joe, I'll give you the floor on this. And let me also ask you this. I'll obviously respond to Phil. Is it coincidental that we're seeing this on the same day, what was a couple days after that security footage was released of the suspect, on the same day they claim they found, they're sending the gloves in for testing, they found DNA, they're getting, 40,000 leads or tips. Today, all this happening, what do you think led to this operation we're seeing? So 2 parts. Obviously respond to what Phil said about the integrity of the investigation, and also, what do you think is leading them to this operation?
Well, the fact that you're getting these leads, and as Phil said, we triage them, and you'd be surprised at how many kooks are out there and bring in things into this investigation that don't have to be there. And it's people that are looking for attention, people looking for the, the ransom money, whatever. But, I have to really go back to the original crime, all right? You have to look at what you had at the original crime. I personally feel that, nobody's going to spend 41 minutes in a crime scene. They want to get in and get out. If it's the idea to go in and do a home invasion, do a burglary, you want to get in, you want to get out. I still say this is somebody very close to the area, to the family that's been there before, that's familiar with it, all right? They still have not established how this person or persons got into the house, right? They never said that, and he wouldn't say it on any of his interviews, and rightfully so. He shouldn't say it because it's probably something that's unique to what they're investigating. So my guess is maybe a hideaway key, something like that. We don't know. But this is what detective work is. You take each response like this tonight. They're going to be in there for a little while. I don't know whether that team left over there, the evidence collection team, I don't know whether they left. All right, but if the FBI's got many other vehicles there with the lead investigators, now remember, Pima is the lead investigator on this with the assistance of the FBI.
Sorry, guys.
The homicides.
Sorry about that.
The homicides. So this is very important. I'm not saying this is a homicide. What I'm saying is on a lead, they are the lead on this particular case, no matter where it goes, kidnapping or whatever. This is very crucial to the investigation because that's how you preserve the integrity of it. We could go back, Jesse, to the original crime scene and say it should have been secured, and you could always go back in there. But I think they have evidence that's going to come out later on. That's going to be irrefutable. That's going to be generic to the perpetrators on this, that no matter what happened that time, they're going to come back and say, we could tie this in successfully. It's a daunting task. This is a very daunting task, and you got to give them the time to work their leads.
So let me interrupt this boys club we have. Let me bring in retired FBI agent, Nation contributor Jennifer Coffindaffer, who's with us now. Jennifer, thank you for staying up as we're watching this happen and unfold in real time.
Speaking of staying up, I thank you all for your support, staying up. We're all eyes on who it is, male and female. Who are they? Who are these terrible people that did this?
As we're talking about what FBI's role is going to be in this SWAT operation that was conducted at a property about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, where 2 people have been removed, and this is in conjunction with a traffic stop where someone was detained. What do you imagine the FBI is doing right now?
Well, the number one role I think they're going to have is in the ERT, their evidence response team. They do it, and they do it very well. And they have handled a lot of this evidence recovery we've seen since they've interjected into this investigation. To be clear, though, from a legal standpoint, it is Pima County that has venue and has jurisdiction over that case. So the FBI is there working in conjunction with them, but at the end of the day, they are the ones that are in charge.
Jennifer, I want you to clear something up for me. Okay, so Sheriff Nanos from Pima County went on Elizabeth Vargas earlier tonight.
Brian, appreciate
Said
you.
they can't clear anybody from
Have
the
a great
investigation
rest of your
and asked
evening,
if
my
you
friend.
cleared
Get some
the
rest.
family.
Thank you for all your support, my friend.
when
I
you
really
heard
mean that. Thank you, all of you.
Social media run wild with that.
For those who need to get some rest,
Is that
and you have to be
standard
up in the
say
morning,
at this point in
get
the
some
investigation?
rest.
Particularly, I have to imagine.
For
even
others
if
who
it's
want
gonna
to
be
stay
conducted
tuned, we appreciate
maybe
you.
several hours after his interview. I could be wrong. Maybe something developed. But what should we be taking away from that? Is that standard say, listen, we can't rule out anybody, we can't say anything until we, catch the person or persons, see if they have any kind of connection to the family or not? Or is there something more we should be looking into?
Well, each sheriff that's in charge is going to make that decision, what they are and aren't going to say. We saw in Idaho every week, every few days, they came out and said, hey, listen, these people are cleared. And they gave a list and they gave it to, the public information officer to release. We saw that. We're not seeing that here. And I think it's because it's too early in the investigation. Everyone is a suspect. And I just don't think they can clear them yet.
Let me go to you, Phil, on something. Besides the DNA that was collected from the house, arguably the most important piece of evidence in this entire case is the surveillance footage from Nancy's house, the Nest footage, right, of the suspect. When you view that
Hey,
guy's
welcome in, guys. All right, so
the way he's walking around and taking the foliage and either trying to dismantle the camera or hide his view, and if it is true.
All right, appreciate you guys being here. We're not going to go anywhere. For those, though, who need to work in the morning, take care of your health. I mean that. For those who got to be up early, take care of your health, right? Right now, we got SWAT rolls out. 2 are taken in from a home about a mile from Nancy Guthrie's house. Nancy Guthrie, who was kidnapped now about 13, 14 days, depending what time zone, call it 13 days right now on the West Coast. Breaking news. There was an artist. She made a sketch. We were discussing that. There was a routine traffic stop. Once again, there's SWAT on the team, on the scene. Excuse me. That's a long for all of us. We have FBI, many FBI. News Nation was the first to arrive on the scene. They say it multiple times, and you know what? I know a lot of us are getting tired of hearing it, but hey, they were there first, and they broke this to us on our previous live stream. There's a sheriff there making sure nobody else can come in. And they even backed News Nation up. All the media is being backed up because it is now considered a crime scene. Let me make this clear. We just know that in all likelihood it was a house because it's a residential area. We know it's a house. And we know it's very close. We don't know if Nancy is in there. It would be an amazing story if she's alive. They haven't told us that yet, or her remains. We don't know. But we do know we're pretty close. I'm hoping that we got that final piece of that puzzle put together on this Friday, the 13th of February. I'll get into some comments real quick. We're not missing anything, guys. It's raining. There's a sheriff there. He's checking each vehicle coming and going, making sure they're the feds coming in and out. Nobody else is allowed in that area. Who is that masked figure of Nancy Guthrie's home? Who is that person? Who do you think is that male, approximately 30 years old, 5'9", 5'10", with the mask on, the gloves on, taking the plant and all that on the camera? Who do we think is that male? And who is that woman that's older than him? Hey, Ardell. Welcome in, Ardell. Welcome in. Welcome in. Who are they? Who are these people? Who can do something like this? Who can possibly go in the house in the morning and take this beautiful 84-year-old woman abducted her out of her house on January 31st. Why would they do it? Was it money? Was it personal? Was it random? Was it a family? We don't know. We do know that the DNA came back, according to the sheriff department, and they said, and I quote, that DNA was not the family's DNA. That does not rule out the family. But what we do know is SWAT was there, and why SWAT was there, just in case that these people, we don't know if there's more people still. I would assume two, but maybe more, could have had a weapon explosion. So they had to make sure, because if something would explode, who knows what would happen, you know? Other homes can go up in flames, people get hurt. And I believe, in my opinion, that News Nation was not supposed to be there. I think they just got lucky. I think News Nation seen the SWAT out of all the media there, lots of media. And they weren't even sure who the hell they were. You heard, I think his name is Brian from Newsmax, pushed them back. They were keeping it away from the media. Hey, Barbara, always good to see you. They were keeping it away. Yes or no? They didn't want the media there. They wanted to make sure that nothing interrupted the crime. You know, because if they would have recognized and they seen cars come there before SWAT, guess what? Everything's ruined. These people run away. Then we have a chase out in the desert. So that's why they kept it away. I think News Nation got lucky. And they're not in trouble. They have the right to be there. But that's what I think happened. All right, so Newsmax is on a commercial break. I'll read some comments here. Somebody says, I have a feeling it's either a gang or a cartel related. Yeah, but who's the woman? Who's the woman? Is she the one who did all the ransom notes? Who is the woman? Who's this older woman? Well, you know, that's unfair for me to say. She's older than a young man, so I don't want to call anybody old like me. So we don't know. Mom and son. Mom and the son. Yeah, Newsmax is on commercial, so we're going to look at this feed here for a little bit. We're going to go back and forth, guys. Welcome in, welcome in. Come on in, guys. Anybody who's been covering this story now for 13 days, we finally got, I believe, that last piece of the puzzle, and we have two in custody, detained, whatever the hell you want to call it these days, detained, custody, and one's a female, slightly older. One's younger. We had an artist, had a sketch. We've covered a lot today, guys. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to stay up. I want to see. I am not going to go off, guys. I'll keep the phone charged. I'll keep the iPad going. I'll keep the TV on. Hopefully the internet stays on. If something happens to the internet, guys, I'll come right back on. I appreciate each and every one of you, as the main reason here is hoping for justice and hoping that this woman's alive. I hope she's alive too. I've said this again, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it would be a great story that the whole world, the United States, need right now. If you know what I mean. We're so divided and parted in so many ways. But you know what, guys? At the same time, I think it comes down to this. We don't want to see this happen to anybody, right? And whoever does this, they deserve prison. And who can do something like this? Why do these things happen? Why? How can anything like this happen? Particularly to an, well, you know, older kids, it really breaks your heart. But to anybody, you know, so we'll find out. We're not going to find out the reason tonight, right? We're not going to find out the reason, but we will find out, I think, who's involved. We will find out who's involved. It's just, will we find out in the next hour? I don't know. And I just want to put out there, everybody has their own opinion. You know, if you don't agree, you know, just continue on. Everybody has their own thoughts. And there's spam. You're going to have spam. You know, you're going to have people who just don't grow up in life and just ignore it. Just ignore it. We have moderators on here. Just ignore it. Life insurance. Life insurance. I think we got that piece of puzzle. What do you guys think? You think they got that puzzle finally together after a couple fumbles? You know, I'm going to stop it with the fumbles because let's go forward. You know, I'll say it last time. There's been some fumbles, but how about we just say, you know what? Forget about it. Let's go on and hope they finally can get justice. All right, here we go. All right, I got to stand up. I'll promise you I'll put the volume on in a second. I just got to get some, I'm going to get a little bit of caffeine. Not too much caffeine because I rattle on too much. Just a little caffeine. Just a little bit of Diet Coke. Okay, here we go.
Presence of authorities, mostly FBI. We saw
three
trucks leaving.
Three detained.
And I have just gotten word that 3 people have been detained tonight.
I told you it's 3.
There's 1 man, 1 woman from that home. And we also talked about and have exclusive video
3
of this traffic stop that was apparently connected to this operation. And we believe that 1 man from that traffic stop has been detained. And we believe he was on his way back to this property when that stop happened.
Summer, welcome in.
This is a real-time update in the Nancy Guthrie investigation.
This is live, guys. Right now.
There's been no sign of Nancy at this location. No word about how this is connected to the investigation in general. We are still learning more details as they come through. But as Brian Enton, who's on the ground, indicated, this is a search. This is an operation that is going to last several hours. I want to bring in retired FBI Assistant Director Kieran Ramsey and retired homicide detective Chris McDonough, who's also the director for the Cold Case Foundation. Chris, I'll start with you. 3 people being detained. Detained is a very specific word.
All right. Detained.
Well, when somebody is detained, it means they're not under arrest. And so the reason for that is to conduct, further interviews, collect forensic evidence, that
Heavy
kind of
hook,
stuff,
3.
Without having to put the individual into, a custody situation.
Yeah, not arrested.
So if they're doing that, then they have some insight in relationship to some type of culpability. What I mean by that, the wrong word. They have some type of insight in that these individuals probably have some type of information they want to get to that.
Now, we were talking, Kieran, these forensic trucks showed up. We believe there's a large FBI presence there. What kind of material are they looking for in this house, and what kind of material may be connected back to Nancy?
Breaking news, 3 detained.
Are they immediately going to be looking for clothing that matches the suspect in that footage? Are they immediately going to try to find something?
2 men. 2 men, 1 woman.
Can they recover this information?
2 men.
Talk to me about what might be happening inside that property.
1 woman.
So, as a former head of one of the evidence response teams for the FBI, having been through something like this probably over 100 times, they are going in there with a fine-tooth comb looking for obvious physical evidence. And then on top of that, hairs, fibers, fingerprints, DNA, anything forensically, because this all culminated because you have a convergence of information and evidence. You have a convergence of tips and leads, possibly, along with physical and forensic evidence previously collected. and then combined maybe with some digital evidence, maybe even some cell phone evidence out there. So to have them show up now with, obviously with a warrant, if they're going in there with a warrant, and an FBI evidence response team is going to go in there, they're going to go over this house with a fine-tooth comb to look for everything that possibly could at all be connected to this crime.
Real quick, just about that, you mentioned the warrant, excuse me, Kieran. Is this something, because I remember Brian had said he'd been on the scene before they were staging, before they went in. Is this something they were waiting for a warrant, or do you think they had a warrant for several hours, maybe the day before they actually used it to execute?
Thank you,
How does
Ace.
it typically work?
I would hate to speculate the exact timing, but usually you get that information in, you start drafting your probable cause statement, working with your prosecutors, and get it in front of a judge as soon as you can.
Right.
So that, because in this case, remember, we have an 84-year-old woman missing for 14 days. So I imagine as soon as they had the ability to get that warrant signed, they got it signed, whether it was an hour before they hit the house or the day before. I doubt it was that long and they were waiting. I'm pretty sure it was just before they were able to get there and conduct this enforcement action.
Just had to ask because I am thinking about everything we've learned in the last 12 hours with DNA and forensics.
Thank you for all the likes. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so
Identifying
much.
the suspect's, backpack and or trying to identify the backpack and the sweatshirt and all these different things happening at once. I'm trying to understand why they did this tonight. Well, maybe we'll get some more answers. I'll tell you what we do have, okay? So as I mentioned, Brian Enton's on the ground. He did an interview with a neighbor, Peter Molk, lives across the street. Let's hear what he had to say.
Unbelievably absurd. It's making everybody nervous. It's just surreal. And we just can't imagine how the family is processing all this. You know, as a neighbor, as a person that lives in the community, we just wanted to resolve, for the positive.
And so what do you make it, how's it feel? There's, 20 cop cars,
Yeah.
a couple SWAT.
Yeah, I live right across the street.
Right across the street.
Yeah, it's weird.
Tell us
Happy birthday.
Your thoughts when you saw that going on, maybe, just about trying
God
to
bless
process
you.
it all. Tell us how you
Well,
feel about that.
we feel that, they might have gotten a tip. There's been a lot of tips, I'm sure, over the past 2 weeks, but this seems to be a tip that's, could be close. Hopefully it's something that's credible and, it's actual. So hopefully they get somebody, but living right so close to it, I can't imagine that if they get somebody that lives right next to me on my street, that, that even makes sense, to be in this neighborhood, to have all these cops here, there's bomb squad vehicles, a lot of cops, a lot of presence.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a shock to the neighborhood, a shock to the system. Chris, does law enforcement question all the neighbors right now?
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing a canvass. They started obviously in the neighborhood right next to Nancy's house, and for the reasons is because she's such a low risk victim. I mean, there's what they call the victim risk continuum, and you just think of like the letter L, Jesse. You got environment, situation, circumstance, low, medium, and high risk, right? Well, what's the environment? Well, she's at her house. The circumstance was she's in bed in her house, and environment, situation, and then the circumstance as a whole was she just disappears. Well, on that victim risk continuum, that puts everything to the very left of that continuum.
No, they're not at Nancy's house. They're about a mile away.
And so
at
there's
another
a higher
location,
probability
another
that there's
house.
Some type of association.
3 suspects, 2
between the
males, 1
victim
female,
and
1
that
female
particular
older than the
house
one
as a whole.
suspect. Not sure the age
And
of the
so
other suspect.
That then tells the authorities, and as an investigator, that tells us, okay, we got to start a radius here. And we, first of all, everybody in the circle, family, friends, employees, the pool guy, the air conditioner guy, anybody in that circle. And then you move yourself out into the neighborhood. And you typically
No signs of
in a
Nancy,
case
guys.
like this would probably go
Still no
between
signs
2
of Nancy
and
Guthrie.
maybe
I want to say it
5
again.
miles, maybe 10 if
As
you're,
we speak,
the
no
scene
signs of
continues to
Nancy
expand.
Guthrie.
And in this
We're in
particular
a SWAT operation,
situation, I think
FBI.
there's a digital footprint.
This could be the
somewhere.
final piece of the
FBI
puzzle.
is the best in the world. The CAS team is the best in the world.
2 males,
at giving digital
1 female,
footprint to,
1 female
local
older than
authorities.
1
And I
male that they
believe that's
brought out.
probably what they're
I don't,
chasing.
not sure the other
Just
male,
something
how
to add
old,
on to what you
nationality.
said.
We don't
My
know.
initial thought
That's
was,
where we're
I
at.
think, like within 24 hours, 48 hours of Nancy Guthrie disappearing was, I hope that they look at the contractors, the people who worked at the case. I can't tell you how many times I've covered cases, older victims who are exploited and victimized by the people that work in their house. And I'm not saying that's what happened here, but again, that is just something I think you have to look at when you deal with these particular situations. Okay, stand by. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're live on the scene with more breaking news.
Look at all the media, guys.
Of Nancy Guthrie.
Look at the media.
We're back.
This is your prime time. News Nation, a different kind of prime. Diverse voices, fresh perspectives.
Okay, Newsmax is on a commercial, so I'll show you this feed here.
That's rough. But hey, with SafeLight, you can get that fixed any way you want.
It's your windshield. You fix it any way you want. Down through.
Okay, so what we got going on right now, there's that location right there. Again, it's about a little over a mile from Nancy Guthrie's house. A lot of us, including myself, said majority of the time, more times than none, these crimes, this has been a bizarre crime, but nonetheless, they're always, not always, but a high percent of times, always relatively close, within a mile, 5 mile range. So approximately an hour ago, thank you for being here, guys. Appreciate it. Hit the like, subscribe. We've been covering this for 13 days. About an hour ago, they had a routine traffic stop. And they had SWAT team kind of confusing the media. Where we were watching, I don't know, 3 hours ago, the media was just confused where to go. The only local media was News Nation. News Nation either got lucky or they followed the SWAT team to the location. Excuse me. They followed them. So they were there. We signed off because there wasn't really a whole lot going on. And all we know is there's SWAT at some kind of a location. And so in between 2 hours ago to now, we got 3 suspects. One to appear, I have not seen, but according to News Nation, an older woman and a younger individual. Now, we heard together another male. So we got confirmed 2 men, 1 female, and they are being detained. It's very important. They're being detained, no arrest. But I feel that this could be it. My opinion. I think they have been watching this area for a while. We know that second glove, there was 2 gloves, one outside that came out of nowhere. We're not going to go back into that again. We'll move forward. And another glove, correct me if I'm wrong, yesterday inside the house. Since then, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Since then, they send friends to Florida. We heard the sheriff talk. We're not going to get into the sheriff. I called them out. A lot of people called them out. We're over that. They got back the DNA. The sheriff came on. He said, and I quote, "We're going to rule out the family." When I say rule out the family, not for an arrest, but we're going to rule out their DNA because their DNA is not there on the glove. Since then, here we are. This is where we're at. I think that the DNA was probably back last night. They analyzed it. They ruled out who they ruled out. I believe the DNA, the sketch of the artist that we've seen, and the eyes, and all this AI got a pretty good description of this male. And with that, with the DNA, and maybe a tip, we don't know, brought them to that house that's a mile away from this beautiful 84-year-old woman, Nancy Guthrie. Is she alive? We don't know. It would be amazing The world needs this right now. We don't know. And another thing we don't know, and I know it's dark, but I'm not going to go back and forth with the light because it'll be a glare, and I'm doing the best I can to show all of you 611. What else we don't know is Nancy in the house? Hopefully there's no kids on here and you guys can be real. We pray that she is. Is there part of the remains of the body? Or is there evidence in that house? And again, why the SWAT team was there? Because they don't know if they had an explosion. Was something going to go off? Was there 10 people in there, 4 people, guns? We don't know. That's why the SWAT team was there. And now we're back with Newsmax. So I'll turn the camera back around. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
In conjunction with that, we've gotten word 3 people have been detained. There was 1 woman, 1 man at the house, 1 at the traffic stop. We have this exclusive video we were showing before of the traffic stop where it appears it's a white van. The reason that might matter, talked about it before, is that there were reports that a white van was seen in Nancy's area.
Oh yeah, the white van.
Disappearance. Don't know if that's why this was the stop. We don't have a lot of information, I'll be completely honest, but I'll tell you what we do have. Brian Enton was on the ground there. Let me tell you, he was the first one there. He was actually within the perimeter for quite some time. He was actually moved back, and when he was moved back out of the perimeter, he told us 10 cars, about 10 FBI cars showed up. So this appeared to be a SWAT operation from Pima County, but then you have this joint operation with the FBI. You are seeing forensic trucks showing up. You are seeing the collection of evidence. And also, I will let you know that Brian was told this operation, this search, pursuant to a search warrant, is going to last several hours. We don't know what's going to come of this. We saw something similar earlier in the week. We don't know if this will see the similar situation here where someone will be detained and ultimately released again. But this is coming on a day where we learned a lot more information about DNA being collected at Nancy Guthrie's house. We learned more about gloves being collected. They're seemingly trying to identify the items of clothing being worn by the suspect. So as soon as we get more information, we will. And I will also let you know, although there were early reports about a press conference that was going to be held, that is not happening. We are waiting for a written statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. As soon as that comes out, I'll make sure to bring it in. I've been talking to law enforcement, lawyers all night. I want to get some different perspective. I want to bring in my friend Gigi McKelvey, host of the podcast Pretty Lies and Alibi. She was on Jesse Weber Live with me earlier in the week because you and I were talking about how in this investigation, right, the public can be a massive help. They're asking neighbors to look for footage. They're asking the public, do you see this guy? I mean, I had a sketch artist earlier on who said, this is who I think it is. Right now, with all of this going on, what is social media looking like?
Oh man, it is a zoo, Jesse. It is wild. But I will tell you, in the beginning, we all were a little skeptical that, is this going to be a repeat of what happened when they detained the suspect, just earlier this week? But
wasn't even a suspect. Yeah.
Right. The person, the person of interest, or the detainee. I don't even know they called him a person of interest, but
it's late for all of us guys.
Jesse, the larger presence, the staging. You guys have brought it all night long. We had Brian Enton there just keeping us updated, and so people love Brian and they know his reporting. So as he was saying this, they're staging here. The seriousness really set in that this might be the night we get some answers after 13 days, almost 14 now, of waiting to hear anything about Nancy, people just hoping she's okay, all the while trying to be realistic about things, but really just grateful that it seems like we've made some significant progress, especially since that DNA was found in the house and obviously was sent for testing. We'll see if that's related to this, but some pieces started to fit a little better tonight, Jesse, and the internet definitely is responding. I've been live, and I tell you, I've had the largest audience tonight.
Appreciate you, Barbara. Thank you so much.
Mostly just a lot of love and prayers for Nancy and the Guthrie family.
There's a ton of people that are invested in this. And yes, you're talking about the mother of a celebrity, a national TV anchor, of course. But at the same time, this is an 84-year-old woman. She is beloved by that family. You watch any of those videos with Savannah and her siblings, it's heartbreaking. You even look at the video of Savannah earlier this week. It is difficult to watch. And as you're seeing the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns of this case, I mean, your heart breaks for them. Let me ask you this. As this investigation is progressing, and I like to use that word progressing, it makes me feel optimistic about what we're seeing. Whether it's, was it social media that helped to even identify some of the items that are worn by that suspect in the video?
Yeah, I have to say, Jesse, a lot of people I saw identified the backpack and the jacket really quickly, actually. People love to feel like they're helping. And we know in the Gabby Petito case, it was somebody who was just aware of the news and was very vigilant and really gave them the break they needed. And even in just saying tonight, hey, I think when we get validation that this backpack was from Walmart or this jacket was from here, a lot of people are going to be right, I think, because they'll point out the similarities. There's a lot of smart people out there, Jesse. I think a lot of people miss their calling, I'll tell you that, because I've seen some great discoveries in the still photos and shadows and just the different areas that people are so good in that are just very vast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's good to hear that you're seeing this outpouring of support.
Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate
for the Guthrie
you.
family. There's obviously, there's obviously trolls out there who, try to exploit it for whatever purpose they do. But look, I think the public here is going to be key. And when you're talking about so many leads and so many tips, did you get any word from people that follow you? Hey, I called into the sheriff's office. I called into the FBI. I found something. I saw something. Whether it's people how many people in Arizona do you see are actually looking into this and are in the area and saying, I know Nancy, I know this area, and are submitting information?
I've had a lot of listeners from Arizona who have reached out that were very familiar with the area, that had seen Nancy around town. Not really any tips, really just more theories that, I say if you feel very strongly about it, but, do remember, make sure it's a valid tip, because they're overwhelmed. Clearly 13,000 tips after that video was put out, or probably more. But yeah, I've had a lot of theories emailed to me, but nobody that really had anything where I would say you definitely need to call. But people do mean well. And at the end of the day, people want to help. Even if it's just from the comfort of their home, people want to feel like they're doing their part. And it could be as simple as retweeting her photo. And, I'm really interested if in fact these people are detained and eventually arrested, and their faces are made public, are we going to start to get more people that say, I remember seeing this or that person here? This is probably the beginning of another saga. If we have resolution tonight, this is not the end of the story. This is really just the beginning.
I mentioned it before. You have to believe that law enforcement is interviewing neighbors of the people that were just detained and what they saw and who are they, and how long they've had property under surveillance, the car under surveillance. Hopefully we get more information. Gigi McKelvey, thank you. Always appreciate it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, as I mentioned, Brian Enton's on the ground there. I want to find out from him what he's seeing, what he's hearing in real time. Stay with us.
Did you know taking Zysol at night relieves allergies while you sleep? So you wake up.
It's 10:46 in Tucson, Arizona.
Everybody else will have to see. There's professionals out here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karen. What was that all about? What was that all about? Someone was just yelling. What was that all about? She went over to the other guy, John DePietro, and starts yelling at him.
Well, it's probably my fault the whole time. Do I want that?
She thought I was him. She goes, "Are you John DePietro?" I said, "No." She went over there and just started saying something crazy.
It just, to me, I don't get it. If it is. I will never understand it. My own daughter and husband and all that. I just can't wrap my mind around that. But
Well, guys, let's hope for the best here. Let's hope that it really is all about getting these people. They're detained, get them arrested if they're found in any involvement in this ongoing 13 days now on this Friday 13th in custody. Eventually, I think this is it, though. I really do. It wouldn't be so many, according to the local News Nation. There wouldn't be so many FBI, SWAT, sheriff on the scene if this wasn't a mistake or misled in all means. So I would assume, as you see, these are feds going in and out. They let them in. That means they're FBI agents working around the clock. They're not sleeping much. Whoops. Can't show his. Okay. Working around the scene. I've been very hard, like a lot of us, on the sheriff, FBI as well. But you know what? We got to put that in the rearview mirror and finally hope that they finally did. It took 13 days. I think it took longer than it should. But hey, if it happens tonight and they finally get three detained, which we're hearing 2 males, 1 female, 1 older female, or older than the 1 male. We don't know about the other male. He could be older than the female. We don't know that. But we do know 2 males. And you can see that's as far as the media is going to get. That's the far.
He lives. There's many occupants of this home. It's the Green family. This is one of them. Guess what? Look.
He's showing us.
So it's about 2.5 miles from my house.
I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm saying that the FBI and sheriffs, they're at this guy's house right now. The Green family.
There you go, the Green family.
What do you think?
I'm not going to say it's the guy, and I don't want to. We just don't know, but that's the guy's house.
The feds are at his house, home with his family.
So the SWAT team has been here. The Bearcat came out. But since then, there's been probably 30 to 40 other cars that have gone in here, mostly FBI, King County Sheriff, Savannah, or Valley. They've all come in. So it's been, there was a few sergeants that came up and they said they're going to release a statement at some point. Not sure when that's going to happen.
We'll see what happens out of this. We'll see what happens out of it.
Oh, there you go.
The reason why I'm showing his pictures, that's the house he's at.
There's going to be a press conference. They are not doing that. We're waiting for a written statement from them to provide more information. We are told that a swath of FBI.
I just want to make it clear, guys.
There have been.
That's the guy's house. That is JLR Investigates. He does a great job. Subscribe to his channel. And he said it himself. That is the Green house. That's the man who's being detained. So we got to be very careful not to accuse anybody at this moment.
What are you hearing? What are you learning?
Former county attorney.
Yeah, so there's still a massive law enforcement presence at the house right now, Jesse. There were already a ton of deputies and SWAT vehicles, and then, as you mentioned, we saw just a huge contingent of FBI agents arrive, at least 10 cars, and what looked like sort of an evidence unit that arrived maybe a half an hour ago. I'll step out of the way and show you. This is as close as we can get right now. You can't really see down the street where all the activity is. That deputy that you see there in the distance is blocking the house is down where we know this SWAT operation happened, and where I'm told there is also a search warrant that is being executed right now.
That's the time there.
And being told is that when they went to this house initially, they pulled out a man and a woman, possibly a mother and a son, I'm being told. They
Mother and a
came
son.
out willingly. So there was no need for any sort of force or flashbangs. It was very, very quiet. We were right down the street when it happened, and we didn't hear pretty much anything. It was quiet because they came out willingly, I am told, and were detained. And at the same time, interestingly, there was another male detained not far from here during a traffic stop that I am told is related. Whether that person also lives in the house, That's what I'm hearing. I haven't been able to fully confirm that yet. But there was another man detained in a traffic stop close by, and I'm told that person was going to get food, and it happened near a Culver's restaurant where that person was detained. How all of this connects back to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, we don't know, but we do know that this is part of the Nancy Guthrie investigation, and it is somehow connected. They're questioning these people right now. Is this going to turn into something, or is this going to be similar to what we saw several nights ago near the Mexico border when that other man, Carlos, was detained, and then they ended up letting him go? We just don't know at this point, Jesse.
And you were told that this operation is going to last quite a while. I mean, what can we expect tomorrow with this?
Yeah, I mean, based on what I'm seeing, I don't get the sense that anybody's going to be leaving anytime soon. And when we were inside the perimeter closer, when we finally got kicked out, they came up to us and said, you guys have to go, and we're going to be here pretty much. And I said, how long? And he goes, pretty much all night, which is sort of the sense that I'm getting to, that they're at least going to be there for several hours longer, especially since we just saw all of those additional FBI teams roll in.
Collecting, processing evidence, maybe doing interviews of neighbors. I mean, we played an interview that was you guys did on the ground with someone there. I have to tell you, Brian, I'm wondering what's leading them there. Today was a very interesting day when they talk about the collection of DNA. And I'll just go back to that for a second. I mean, you've been covering this from the beginning. Do you think there was something that led them there, whether it's the surveillance footage, whether it's the idea of collecting DNA, the gloves? Now there's been potential identifications of the clothing worn by the suspect. What's your gut telling you about what might have led them there? Because it seemed like, my guests have been saying, it looks like they were under surveillance for a little bit.
Yeah, it's my understanding that someone in the home was under surveillance, and I was getting, indications from my sources really starting in the late afternoon that something might be going down tonight. And then we reported when the SWAT team was staging. They staged at two different locations that we were at. They were all gathering together, and you got the sense that they were getting ready to do something. Granted, we've seen them do that other nights, and nothing has transpired, so we weren't really sure which way it was going to go tonight. And then, lo and behold, they staged at one location. They moved to a different location very close to the house. And then they moved in on the house pretty much at the same time that we know they moved in on that traffic stop, Jesse. Whether it has anything to do with the announcement by the sheriff that DNA was found inside the home, my sense is it doesn't. That this was someone who was probably already on their radar and under surveillance, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Any idea of identities of these people? No, we don't have names. We don't have identities. We don't, looks like there's someone else coming out here. So let me step out of the way. You can see who this is. But we do not, looks like this is maybe one of the SWAT units now leaving, Jesse. They've been there for a long time. I actually thought maybe these SWAT units would have left earlier once everything sort of calmed down. But yeah, this is what we saw roll in earlier. There were two of these, and that's how we knew that it was serious when you see these SWAT guys and everybody inside had their armor, and they weren't taking any chances earlier, but now they're starting to roll out, Jesse. And that could be because they just have to make sure there's not a continuing security risk. I don't know how big this property is. I don't know what kind of complications it has. Not uncommon for a SWAT team to stay there to provide additional resources.
One of the SWAT vans are leaving.
This is, by the way, there's been so much talk about cooperation, lack of cooperation between the sheriff's office and the FBI. Have you seen Sheriff Nanos at the scene? I haven't seen him. That doesn't mean he's not here. It's so dark. When we were back there, it was hard to really see faces. So I know I confirmed that night that when we were at the scene at Rio Rico, he was there. The sheriff did show up. In terms of whether he's here tonight, I haven't heard. I did think it was interesting that he did that interview with Elizabeth Vargas just hours before this. Was a little, as he should be, not revealing a lot of information. Wouldn't even rule out suspects and say, well, I can't even rule out the family at this point when he was asked. I do wonder, I mean, you've been following this, I do wonder what information he had about this operation, because there has been a question of you nailed it perfectly. It was like at the beginning of the week, he didn't even know Savannah Guthrie was going to be making that video. He found out from his wife. I mean, do you believe that there is more coordination than we're seeing in the media right now between the FBI and Pima County?
I certainly hope so. I mean, look, we're hearing two different stories. We're hearing from FBI sources that it's been a bit of a mess when it comes to communication between the two agencies, and that they, were having issues about where to send evidence. The sheriff has now denied all of that. Looks like there's another truck coming out, maybe. The sheriff has denied that there's been an issue, says that he called the FBI, the Monday after Nancy Guthrie went missing. We definitely saw FBI here tonight. I can say that for sure, because a ton of them arrived. I don't know what this white, I don't know the significance of this white van, but it looks like it was coming from the crime scene area. So, hopefully things will get better, because
thank you, Heavy Hope.
I've
Thank
heard
you
it for the last week or so.
Thank you,
just
moderators.
Among sources here on the ground, that even 2 nights ago there was some critical information involving a car that they were looking for that just wasn't shared with the FBI. And they were sort of mind blown by that. Like, why were they not being kept in the loop?
Let me ask you about that real quick. So we have this video that was obtained of the traffic stop, and you see what appears to be a white van. I've been talking about it tonight. Why is that significant to you?
So, we've got to sort of figure out how to piece this together, and we don't have the information yet. But the traffic stop happened around the same time as when they finally decided to move in on this house. And it's my understanding they were waiting for this traffic stop to happen to move in on the house. So they're connected. The people involved are connected.
Right.
And how they are and all the details of that, we're going to have to wait to kind of sort that out and talk to our sources.
But about 30 seconds left. But you've heard reports about a white van in Nancy's neighborhood, if in fact that's what the video's showing?
Yeah. I did. Granted, there's so many workers in the neighborhood. I've not to discount that, but I've seen a lot of white vans in the neighborhood. I mean, there's landscapers everywhere. It's a beautiful neighborhood. People haven't work done on their houses constantly, so there's a ton of white vans. I wouldn't go too far thinking that that's necessarily a connection.
I lied. You have 20 seconds. You got you have a special coming out tomorrow night, right?
We do, yeah. We've got a special tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, where we're going to look at it. I mean, we've got all these developments tonight. We're going to keep pounding the pavement tonight in the morning, and we'll have it all tomorrow night, kind of at where everything stands. Seems like it's changing by the hour.
I will just say, Brian, on behalf of everybody here and behalf of everybody who's been following this case, you are doing an incredible job in your continued coverage of this, and thank you so much for being a part of this. I know we're trying to get answers for the Guthrie family as quickly as possible. Brian Entin, thank you so much. Everyone out there, thank you for joining us here on News Nation for our continued coverage, our live coverage of the Nancy Guthrie case. I'm Jesse Weber. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. All right, everybody, and welcome to Jesse Weber Live. I'm going to be taking over right now. So as you see, we're beginning in Arizona with some breaking news in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The Pima County Sheriff's Department has activated both their SWAT team and their mobile command unit. At one point in the evening, they were just in a staging operation, and now it appears that 2 individuals have been detained. Now, we believe it is a man, it is a woman. We haven't been able to identify who these individuals are yet. I'm going to bring on Brian Entin in a minute, who's on the ground within the perimeter of where this is happening. And let me just add this. News Nation was exclusive in this. We exclusively learned about this SWAT operation, which I believe is at a location that is 1.9 miles away from Nancy's house in the Pima County area. But remember what this happens. Let's just put it into context, okay? You're 13 days in. This comes on the heels of the Sheriff Chris Nanos telling News Nation that investigators found DNA samples in Nancy's home belonging to someone that wasn't Nancy or anyone that was close to her. You know, that's interesting, considering early on authorities seemed to have indicated there was no forensic or DNA evidence of a suspect. So what changed? Now, after an investigation, again, that stretched on for 13 long days, now we have to ask, within the next hour, are we going to get confirmation that authorities have finally made an arrest? And more importantly, Is Nancy Guthrie still alive? I'm joined right now by News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton, who has been the first on the scene here. Brian, thanks so much. Okay, for anybody who's just joining us this hour, lay out where you are. I know you can be limited in what you can say because you don't want to jeopardize an active investigation that's happening, but lay out what you're seeing right now at this hour and what we can expect to see.
Yeah, so we're at about 2 miles, Jesse, maybe a little under 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. There is, it's still active, a SWAT operation that was out here. I would say about 24 deputies, FBI agents, 2 big SWAT vehicles from the Pima County Sheriff's Office rolled into this neighborhood. I've lost track of time. We've probably been here for about an hour or so. And I'm told that they were conducting an operation connected to the Nancy Guthrie operation, to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. They went into a home in this neighborhood. They brought 2 people out. It appears that it was a man and a woman. And beyond that, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens next. None of the SWAT vehicles have left yet. None of the deputies have left yet. In fact, only more have arrived since we've been here. And I am told that there may also be a traffic stop that happened around the same time, very close by, that could also be connected to this operation happening here at this house. So there's a perimeter that's been set up around the neighborhood, and we are inside the perimeter, very close to the house. So we're just trying to kind of lay low right now while we just try to stay out of the way and see sort of how this unfolds from here. You know, there was the in Rio Rico, remember I was on the show the other night, there was this
after the surveillance video from Nancy's front ring doorbell camera captured that suspect on the front porch. After that was released to the public, thousands of tips came in. We also know that the FBI released what they believe is the backpack that the suspect was wearing. Thousands of tips have come in. All of those tips are being run down, vetted, and checked out. We don't know.
Guys, I'm going to jump over to another news outlet. That was prior, a little bit before. We're going to go to another outlet here. This is live now, up to date. We're waiting for the sheriff's update.
Which is, that's not a good position to be in, not knowing what the police may.
Waiting for the sheriff.
I would have to give him an 8.
Waiting for the sheriff update on Nancy Guthrie. Investigation continues as there's 3 suspects, or excuse me, it's been a very long night. 3 detained. I gotta be very careful. 3 detained, 1 female, 2 males. From a Mr. Green. It's almost like a clue, you know. Remember Clue? Mr. Green, wasn't there a Mr. Green in Clue? A Mr. Green, according to JLR, who investigates, who's been working his butt off there for multiple days now. But Green's house, he showed the face. I'm not going to show it because I just don't know. I can't confirm that, but if you want to go back, you go back about 10 minutes on the live, maybe 15. I'd go back about 10, 12 minutes and you can see his face. Or you can Google if you're near a laptop.
What sets this different, though, if you're detaining in this case?
Thank you, David. I appreciate David Wagner. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you all.
They're just going to stop questioning, right? They're not going to continue questioning that suspect or that subject.
Deborah Johnson, welcome back.
But absolutely, they're going to, the Fifth Amendment applies here. Miranda applies. They're certainly not going to violate the rights of people that want a lawyer and continue questioning. So, if I can, let me qualify why. You don't want to do anything that would damage the reputation of the case or the integrity of the case. That individual may have something valuable to say. They just want a lawyer to be on time. So, you don't want to ruin anything. So, you certainly would.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to pin that heavy hook if you don't mind. I'm going to pin that. If you want to see the sketch. Again, you could just go to K as in Kevin, V as in Victor, UE, and you can see the sketch. KVUE, and you can see the sketch, and then come back and join us live if you want to see.
together to unfold and perhaps send something in. I believe we've got another one in. Producer Julie has a couple more of these things lined up.
Search warrants, whether or not those search warrants have been signed by a judge, we don't have that confirmed. That they're focusing
Laura from Canada, welcome in.
about 2 miles away from Nancy's house. And so we're waiting
On YouTube, right. Thank you for clarifying that, moderator. Thank you. So what do you think, guys? Who are these people? Who is this female? Who are these males? Who are they that were a mile away from Nancy Guthrie's house? Who do you think they are, Michigan? Welcome in. We should find out, hopefully hear from the sheriff or at least get a statement from the sheriff, right? So it looks like Live Now from Fox is saying at least one person's detained. I guess they haven't got, it's just crazy because News Nation was the first to arrive. And you've seen it, what they said. There was at least 3 detained. So John Deere Green. That sounds correct. That sounds correct. Somebody says a possibility, I quote, possibility, he says, or they said, housekeeper or caregivers. I don't think they had a caregiver there, but anything's possible that we don't know. Ongoing, we're getting close. I think this could be it, guys. I think we have the right people. I really do. There wouldn't be so many. Now, you've seen the SWAT trucks leave, at least 2 of them, maybe 3, at least 2, right? And that means that they don't need SWAT there because they feel that they got all the subjects out of the house, right? So they don't need the SWAT anymore. All they need now is the FBI, detective, sheriff, and try to put everything together with DNA. Brian, how are you? And get some closure for the family. Hopefully figure out where the body is, or maybe baby Nancy's alive, and all that detail should be coming in soon. I don't know if we're going to hear assuming that Nancy's unalive, I don't know if we're going to hear about that tonight. It's just my thoughts, guys. I would assume they're going to have to contact, well, I don't have to assume, they're going to contact the family first. Savannah, Annie, I forget the brother's name. They're going to have to contact the family and notify the family if they haven't already, and told them that, they're going to know a hell of a lot more than we know. Hey, we got great news. We got the 3 people. We got, we got your mom. Unfortunately, she's unalive. Or we haven't found your mom yet, but we got these people. We're questioning them. We're going to question them. We're going to try to get as much information possibly to lead to finding out her whereabouts. And it would be a great story for all of us that she's alive. It would be amazing. It would be, wow, I would love it. It would just be amazing, remarkable. No, they haven't found her yet. We don't know. We don't know. They might have, we just don't know. I'm reading comments here on the bottom.
Sorry guys, I ran away from home 10 years ago.
Oh, thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Greg Scott.
Yes. The activity is down there, or has been down there.
Again, all this happened about a little less than 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I am praying been praying since the beginning that this beautiful woman's alive, and it could be. It would be an amazing story. But at the same time, we're all adults on here, I hope. And, you know, we got to, you know, it would be a remarkable story. I'm just giving you the details on what's happening, on what could happen, to be realistic, you know. 13 days, a long time. She could be alive. She could be in that house. She could have been fed. She could have had water. She got her medication. Could be possible. Could be. That would be amazing. But I'm just saying, we also have to pinch ourselves and think that, you know, might not just be the details. So we just got to be adults here and look at that. We just don't know. But what we do know is there's 3 detained, and that's good news. That's a good lead. So let's see. I read some comment here. Sketty says, I believe she's near there somewhere. I mean, I guess the positive news is they haven't found any body, right? There's nothing out in that area. They've been searching on and off between the homes in the desert. So that I would suppose that's great news, right? So I mean that's good that they haven't found any remains. All we see is that blood over and over that's on the front steps. And I guess some other positive news is on the glove there was no DNA came back from Nancy Guthrie or the family. So I guess you could say that's pretty good news. Here's the description for you guys if you haven't seen already. About 6 foot, excuse me, about 5'9", 5'10" there. Average built. Ozark Trail Hiker Pack.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Sheriff's deputies and FBI in this parking lot. If you're asking why are we staying on air, even though there's no major movement at any of these scenes.
Well, this is something different. This is a parking lot.
For a statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. The last we heard from them, they say that they will not be giving a press briefing, but they will be giving a written statement. That written statement.
For those who are new to the channel, thank you and welcome in. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Guardian
on everything that's
of many. The Guardian of many.
Just to reset for anybody who's just tuning in, we are getting some major news, major developments tonight in the investigation of the search for Nancy Guthrie. We do know that police have, I'm just going to say that our partner station, Fox 10 in Phoenix, they are on air speaking about this very situation, so we will tap into their coverage in a moment here. But one final thing, Jamie, let's wrap this up. Let's put a bow on our coverage for the evening. Your final thoughts. Obviously, we don't have the statement itself in hand yet, but tonight, given that up to 3 people have been detained, we don't know how many, if any, of them are suspects. All we know is as many as 3 people have been detained by police tonight after a warrant was served. Jamie, the significance of the night and the significance of 3 people being detained, and really, what are you going to be looking for in that statement once we get our hands on it?
Austin, can I change course for just a moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what we're seeing here are 2, they're Pima County Sheriff's deputies. They have a vehicle parked on either side of this Range Rover. When that zoomed in, it brought to mind that tag is obscured with a piece of paper. Why are these 2 individuals standing here, the 2 law enforcement officials? Is that car potentially involved? That's the first thing that my spidey senses went up.
Absolutely.
It could be something else, but take a look at that tag. It's certainly obscured with a piece of paper that doesn't look normal. So, are we actually seeing something play out before us while we're talking? I think it's a good possibility based on what we're seeing.
I think so.
Wouldn't take that as any chance that that could be an unmarked police vehicle just mixed in with the group of police vehicles?
I don't know. A lot of agents riding around in a Range Rover. It could certainly be something ancillary, right? We're not saying this is part of it, but it kind of struck a chord when I saw that, when that camera person zoomed in. That caught my eye. This we don't know exactly where this location is and how far it is from the home they're searching, but
correct.
That would certainly stand out in my mind. Is this vehicle potentially involved in something, or they have an interest?
Yeah, I mean, the license plate being covered certainly is interesting, as you point out. It's a little tough for us to tell, at least on the little monitor that I'm looking at from where I sit.
Dr. Gregory says FBI on the cover. Is that what it is?
It is obstructed.
Or is that the suspect's car?
Would there be any reason that the officers themselves would obstruct it if it's going to be something they're going to investigate, Jamie?
Oh, absolutely. Without a question. I mean, with the chatter on social media and the internet, I mean, if it's a vehicle that's actually involved, you want to cover up and obscure that tag so no one can run it and potentially do something to identify who owns it, because at the end of the day, it may not be involved. So you certainly don't want to place danger on someone's life by, exhibiting a tag number. But, we see an FBI agent just behind these individuals with his hatch open. It looks like, to me, they're going to process something potentially. Curious about the vehicle. That certainly stands out.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to tap into Fox 10's feed in a moment here. We're going to listen into their coverage, Jamie. Any final thoughts? Anything worth keeping an eye out for? Or again, I guess more specifically, what are you going to be looking for in that statement once we see it?
I want to know if they divulged what they were actually doing at this house. What, the search warrant we know was served or executed. Are they going to tell us what was located? Probably not. But I think we can more than likely tell by the tenor of whoever gives that statement,
taking
how
pictures.
that statement was written, whether it potentially was successful.
What is he photographing?
In the search warrant.
They're taking a photo of that car.
Yeah, they're photoing that car.
They're taking photos of the car. They blocked, either the plate was blocked before or the authorities have blocked it since they've deemed that they want to investigate the vehicle. So the FBI had taken some photos of this car, and you were spot on. They had the vehicle, they had the law enforcement vehicles on either side of
They're
this.
certainly taking photos of something.
Let's say that there's a vehicle connected to this, not just a home, but a vehicle now that they're keeping an eye on and taking a look at and taking photos of. What little piece of information, what does that add when you play out the range of possibilities that we're working with here, Jamie? What does a car add?
Let's go back to that aerial surveillance. Presumably they were conducting earlier today. It was reported that the plane was up for a couple of hours. We don't know exactly what they were targeting or looking at. It could have very well been a vehicle they were watching. It could have been a vehicle that left the house and they just kind of wanted to keep tags and find out where it's at. Any event, I will point out to you, Austin, all of the above had some undercover officers with unmarked vehicles doing surveillance on all the above items of interest, persons of interest, and certainly vehicles. So, something certainly led the officials here to this Ranger where we just, obviously we don't know the facts, but they're certainly honing in on it.
All right. Law enforcement expert and former sheriff and investigator Jamie Copenhaver with us tonight. Thanks for being generous with your time. We'll talk with you soon.
Thank you, Austin. Have a good night.
You too. So, Fox 10 Phoenix is on air with their, really, this is special coverage for them at this point. They're not normally on air at this hour. But let's pull up the audio. They're live 11:20 in Arizona right now. Let's pull the audio up. This is happening in real time.
The camera, and then they're trying to use their glove to hide it before trying to disconnect the camera, and multiple angles on this as well. And that was the first indication, perhaps, that maybe this is not a professional person doing this, someone who's done this before. They were able to use this video, though, to get a lot of information, and Megan was talking about that. They were able to find out, first of all, where the clothing was purchased, where the backpack was purchased, again, Walmart or online, so that could help as far as tracking it down. There's all surveillance video in all of these Walmart stores. Everyone was focusing on the jacket, the gloves, the backpack, and also where the weapon was, the way they were carrying it at the front of their body instead of on the side. It also allowed the police rather, to find out how tall this person was, because there was a still photo where they were standing next to a palm tree, and they recreated that with the tent that we saw. When they put the tent over, they came in with a measuring tape and someone that was next to that tree, and they were able to compare the two and find out how tall this person would be. And that is where we got that 5'9" description of how tall this person would be. So all of those pieces of information can really come together to help identify the person. If someone knows anyone with that kind of clothing, or who recently purchased that backpack, they might be able to lead police to someone, at least a person of interest. So that is where we stand tonight. Another aerial view from the drone of the neighborhood. We are going to take a quick break right now as we try to gather more information, but we will keep these drone images up from that scene so you can keep watching as this story develops. Please stay with us here on Fox Local.
What do you guys think?
And as Fox 10 goes to break, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick with their feed. They'll come back on with their broadcast in a moment here.
Is that the car? Is that the suspect's car?
Go to the same live vantage point that they're looking at.
Or is that the FBI's car?
This is a live look at a Range Rover that they have
He's taking photos
tonight. We don't exactly know what this vehicle is wanted
Look,
connection to.
He's taking photos. That's the suspect's car.
Lights are blocked.
That's the suspect's car, folks.
And it does appear
That's the suspect. Why would he be taking photos at a FBI?
Taking photos. We do know that
they
served at a home.
All eyes on this car.
Fox News Digital reporting that up to 3
What's that? A Range Rover?
Have been detained. And the FBI perhaps also keeping an eye out for this vehicle. It seems that there's a vehicle of interest, at the very least. All of this happening, by the way, I do not know where this vehicle is. We don't know how close this vehicle is to where the search warrant was executed. What I do know is that the area that the search warrant was executed was about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. We know that, and really, Jamie Copenhaver, who was speaking with us tonight, he noticed it, just when the officer standing next to the vehial.
There's interest on this vehicle, guys. A lot of interest here.
There. And sure enough, the FBI pulled out one of their cameras, and now it looks like we've got at least one person that's been detained, possibly up to 3, according to Fox News Digital. Of course, a home that we will wait to learn more. If anything was found in the home where the search warrant was executed.
This could be good
and
stuff.
What I'm going to be waiting for here.
This could be
is
finally
Fox 10 Phoenix. We'll see if they come back online.
Get these individuals, huh? This would be great.
Breaking news. Here in Arizona, there's been intense interest and really statewide media, obviously international and global media has gathered in southern Arizona for this story. But really any and all stations from southern Arizona all the way up to Phoenix and many of the other smaller media markets in the state, they've all kind of conglomerated in Tucson, Arizona, as we have been covering nearly 2 weeks of investigating, searching, learning little by little as investigators continue their search for the mother of Savannah Guthrie, the Today Show host.
Got the FBI agents there continuing.
So I've been keeping an eye on
photos.
this shot where the FBI is taking photos of this vehicle. We've also got this scene here. Looks like they've got some vehicles positioned in this neighborhood. Gonna have to ask Julie, what was that, Julie? What we're going to do here is let's go through some of what Pima County Sheriff's Department is putting up online. We haven't really gotten too much tonight, but What little they have sent out, we can roll through some of this.
I got to charge up, guys. Hold on.
We've already got up on screen here. They're just kind of squashing a rumor that's going around online. They say, reporting that current law enforcement activity is surrounding a home belonging to a former county attorney is not accurate. They also said that they're not going to be holding a press conference tonight. Instead, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be releasing a written statement. We don't know what that written statement is going to say. We have not gotten any really indicators as to what the official word is going to be from police officials. What we've heard from Fox News Digital is that their law enforcement sources are telling them that a number of people have been detained tonight. That doesn't mean that any of them are suspects. It doesn't mean that we have any confirmation that anything more than a warrant being carried out happened tonight. And yeah, okay, so the Pima County Sheriff's Department saying there is no press briefing scheduled for tonight regarding Guthrie. A written statement is forthcoming. They sent that out about an hour and a half ago. So we don't know when they're going to release this statement. All we know is sometime soon we expect that there will be a little more information coming from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. What I want to do is dip back into Fox 10 Phoenix. They're back online. It sounds like they're talking about this scene where they're taking photos of this Range Rover car. This is their broadcast.
Range Rover.
Speaking.
Earlier, where we saw a SWAT team going to the neighborhood about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home, where Megan Spector has been reporting tonight, where that activity is still going on. The neighborhood where we were expecting to hear a news briefing from Pima County Sheriff's Department, who then said, no, there will be no briefing tonight. Instead, there will be a statement sent out. They said forthcoming. That was an hour and a half ago. Still waiting. Nothing has been posted yet. A number of photographers here, federal agents, also Sheriff's Department. Multiple angles of the vehicle. We haven't seen them. Obviously, it doesn't look like there's anyone in the vehicle, from our angle anyway, that is. And this is somehow connected, it appears, to this case, because it has become the center of investigation right now in this Culver's parking lot. Again, not far from the scenes that we have been focused on during this evening, Nancy Guthrie's home and the other home not far away. So
this is live, guys, right now. The FBI is taking photos of that vehicle.
This at River and First Avenue in Tucson, in the Catalina Foothills area. Quite a busy night as far as developments in this case go. But what this all means, what it could lead to, we still don't know. And that is the question we're all waiting for this evening. I keep checking the X account for Pima County, and so far we're not seeing any update except for that one we showed you that was posted now 51 minutes ago. And that was the most current. They said, again, that they would put something out. There was some reporting from a KOLD news anchor in Tucson that she said her sources said Pima County was waiting to coordinate their statement, or at least get it approved from the FBI before they could put that out. So if that's the case, it could explain why we haven't had anything yet. It's also possible that with this new development here, this vehicle, maybe they're not ready to put something out at this point. Maybe something has changed. That, again, is pure conjecture on my part, because we just don't have much information tonight to go on. So we're kind of putting these pieces together by what we are seeing as you're seeing it as well. We're all kind of finding this out together tonight. So this is a definition really of a breaking news situation. We do have, again, crews down in Tucson keeping an eye on the house where the SWAT activity was earlier tonight, where 3 people were detained, 2 men and a woman. Again, pointing out detained does not mean arrested. There was a search warrant served at that house, and it looks like they were still gathering information or evidence because there was a large presence of law enforcement vehicles in that neighborhood. News media there capturing the scene as well, and also looks like citizen journalists on the street in front of this restaurant. Hard to tell exactly what this vehicle might have to do with anything in this investigation. But we are keeping an eye on this part of the evening as well. That's about all we can tell. Again, odd that the license plate would be covered up, unless that was done by the Sheriff's Department, so people didn't look up that vehicle information. I'm not sure. So this is where we stand tonight. We could take another look at the drone over the neighborhood where the SWAT situation was earlier tonight. Live look there. Kind of gives you a lay of the land. The properties we were talking about, it's very similar to the neighborhood where Nancy Guthrie lives. These homes that are on large lots, and you can't really tell because of the infrared view here, but you can see saguaro cactus. There's a lot of scrub and shrubs around these homes as well, which kind of makes it difficult for investigators when they were looking for any kind of evidence. There's lots of places to hide things underneath the desert terrain out there in the desert here, as you can see. Is going into land here, or just giving us a lay of the land there as far as what the terrain looks like out there tonight. We can tell you too that Megan, who has been in the neighborhood that we just showed you, is now moving over to this location not far away, River and First, to find out hopefully more information about what this investigation is about. We lost that signal there, but Megan's on her way over there now. And hopefully we'll get some clarity as far as how this Range Rover could potentially be connected to that. Although information has been pretty difficult to get, to be honest, because I think they're being very careful with what they release. So I don't think they may be telling us tonight, at least not on the scene, what that vehicle's all about, unless we do finally get that press briefing that they talked about earlier tonight. Here's another view of Nancy Guthrie's home, where this all started. As we're approaching the midnight hour, it will be 2 weeks now since this all happened. And again, the video that was released of the suspect going up to the front porch, trying to hide that camera, or at least hide his view from the camera. Another angle here from the front of this Range Rover that is parked here in this fast food restaurant parking lot. Can't tell a lot of information. It's been raining there tonight in Tucson, as you could tell. Surrounded by sheriff's deputies. It doesn't appear that it was parked in any sort of, I mean, it's a little parked a little off kilter, but it's not clear if somebody.
Looks like we lost a little audio.
Sparked interest in this particular vehicle that is here tonight, but we saw the FBI taking photos, documenting this from multiple angles to basically try to document what was going on with this car. And maybe, I don't know if they were searching for fingerprints, but with the rain out there, that might be difficult tonight as well. So Megan is on her way over to the scene, and we will hopefully get more information from her as she gets there. Again, it's not far away. I'm gonna take a quick break right here. We're gonna let you keep watching these images as they come in.
Yeah, while they take a break, I'm gonna put the phone.
All right, sounds like Fox 10 Phoenix is going to a break. Like the connection got a little choppy on us there. Let's go to the exact same shot that they have. There we go. So, what we're going to do here at Live now, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
All right, so they're going to...
It doesn't appear that... And I've been checking to see just in case we have anything in for the Pima County Sheriff's Department. That's really going to be the one thing that I'm looking for before the night is over, is where are authorities going with this person that was detained tonight? Perhaps up to 3 people, according to Fox News Digital. And really, the way Fox News is reporting it, they say at least 3 people detained. No official word from authorities yet. We're going to continue to keep tabs on it behind the scenes. Let's take a break. Be right back.
All right, they're going to take a break. I'm going to sit down. Long day for all of us, guys. So what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts? Anybody? 3 in custody, 3 detained. What about that car? What do you guys think of that vehicle? Whose vehicle was it? Was it the guy in the mask? Was it this other male? We haven't. Well, we seen what JLR showed, or is it the woman's car, or none of them? I would assume it's somebody's car, right? Possible the car that they could be the vehicle they had Nancy in. Could be the vehicle they that was parked down the street. I said it from the beginning, a lot of people, not just me, it could no way been one person to do this. When you do these kind of crime scenes and kidnapping, they're normally work in pairs, and in this case, 3. I even said probably 3. And a lot of you just said female, so. Do they need a search warrant for the vehicle? That's a good question. I would assume once they are confident from the DNA and they have at least one suspect who comes out and says, hey, yeah, I was part of this, and whose vehicle, and they say that, then they could do a search warrant. But assuming it's the vehicle. Now, I don't think it's an FBI car. They do cover plates up, but I think this is the, as Fox, one of the panel there said, it probably is the suspect car. So. Kelly says, yeah, I need a warrant. Someone wants to interview that female officer. Could a body be in a car? Possible. Possible. Not a bad comment. In the trunk. That's a fair comment. Could be. Hey, for those who are saying hi, welcome in. Like, subscribe. We appreciate it. We've been covering this now for 13 days. I know a lot of us are tired, exhausted. At the same time, we are praying and hoping that, the remarkable or the prayers are answered, and that this beautiful 84-year-old woman is alive in a house somewhere. But at the same time, we must tell ourselves and be prepared. I know we all have different feelings. We're all human. Nobody's the same. And we're being very close to this, like it was like one of our moms, and we got to prepare ourselves that, there is that possibility that she's unalive, and they are working on finding out where the body is. So we will see. I don't know if we're going to have an answer on that. I think we might have, what I'm hoping to have would be that they are sure now that all 3 that are detained become detained and suspects, and they can pretty much not wrap the investigation, but at least it can bring closure to the family, and knowing that these people are off the streets so they don't commit any more crimes. And then I guess the questions will be hours to come, days to come, weeks to come. Why? Why would somebody kidnap this woman? Very little blood on the porch, no blood according to the sheriff department in the house. Who would do this? And then they're going to ask them, I don't know if we'll ever know, how long they were preparing for this. Is this something they put together in 24 hours on January 30th? It happened on January 31st, or is it something they put together around December before Christmas? Is this because they didn't like, is there something to do with Savannah? Something Savannah reported on these 3 that are being detained? Had nothing to do with money at all? Because listen, there was nothing taken. But then they're going to ask them, what's up with the ransom? Were you guys involved in the ransom? Or, not to make things more difficult, is that a whole separate thing? Somebody else doing that? I don't think so. I would assume that they were working a long time on this, and somebody wrote those letters, and somebody was good with words from the beginning to the middle to the end. So we'll find out, but I don't think we're going to find that out tonight. I'd like to find out whose car that is, that Range Rover. Again, police are looking at the car near Nancy Guthrie's home, about a mile, less than 2 miles from the incident. I think it's time for water. And for those who've been following us, we appreciate you guys staying along with us for now 13, 14 live streams. Well, 13 days. We've done 3 live streams yesterday, so I really appreciate you guys. I mean, we're all hoping that justice is, they get the right people here. Hopefully they're the right people. I'll get into some comments. I think we're going to get into comments because right now, the Piedmont County Sheriff is parked next to the Range Rover. The FBI guys just circling around. They're still taking photos, or now they left. So we'll do this. I'll stay live a little longer, and we'll see if there's a statement. How's that? We'll see. We'll stay live a little longer, see if there's some kind of statement, at least to see if there's any more details on that vehicle, that Range Rover. All right. We all want Nancy alive. Absolutely. Thank you all for your comments. You hear some sirens. That's at my location, not that location. I'm sitting outside. Yes, Friday the 13th. Again, I think it's a story. I say this again. This is something we really need to be. We need good stuff. It's time, right? It's time for a great story, don't you think? We're really not missing much, guys. They're just looking at 3 vehicles, the Piedmont County Sheriff pickup truck and vehicle, and the officer, the cute female officer and the male officer just walking around, making sure that nobody touches the vehicle. So there's not much missing there. I hope this is it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, yeah, they're just making sure that nobody comes close to that vehicle. Nobody. What we do know, wait a minute. Let's see here. Promise you I'll turn the camera around, but there's just... They're just circling they're just watching the vehicle. Terrible, terrible situation, guys. And I think let's hope it was unlucky Friday the 13th for these people who did this terrible to bring this to the poor family, for 13 days and just rip up a family like this. And for what was behind this? What was the reason? I'd like to hear your comments. What do you guys think? Was it about money? Was it all about money with the Bitcoin, or that was just to throw everything off? Or was it about something that Savannah covered, the daughter? Was it something they just didn't like? Why that house? Not that we want any other home, but why that home? Why Nancy Guthrie? Why take that out on her? Why do people do this? What was the motive behind this? I still think there's something. Savannah, being a reporter that she was, perhaps covered a story a year ago, 6 months ago, longer, on a situation. I don't know. It just, we'll find out. Something in the milk ain't clean.
Some statement has said, as far as former attorney general or former county prosecutor, it's inaccurate. So, trying to find out more on that one.
Yeah, we heard about that former prosecutor attorney. Sounds like it was just made up, so. Well, we don't know.
Talk around here, people are saying it's some sort of Airbnb rental property down there.
Okay. They're talking about an Airbnb rental property. Perhaps the house that they just took these 3 people out of the house. All right, I'll turn the camera again.
Where is Nancy? Haven't heard anything about coroner or anything at the scene. Some people have been posting online about a coroner, but I haven't seen a coroner at all. What we saw was law enforcement, FBI vehicles go in there. There's like a giant media staging ground. Which street do you live? That way or down there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no coroner there. So I guess that's no coroner there. So I guess that's some good news. Is Nancy alive? Is Nancy alive? Is she in that house? You know? Is she in that house? Was she fed? They kept her alive? Was that ransom real? And they kept her alive the whole time. You know, fed her and gave her medicine that she needed.
Which eventually turned into, according to Fox News Digital, at least 3 people being detained. That does not mean any were suspects. We don't know any 3 of them. We don't know if one of them was a suspect. We don't know if any of them were a suspect. All we know is that police have been telling us since we learned of this that they were going to not hold a press briefing, but they would release a statement, and that statement was forthcoming. That was a little over 90 minutes
No
ago.
forensic or coroner there,
We
no.
have the statement. It just came in. The Pima County Sheriff's Department saying on X, law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available.
I expected that.
Unclear to me if that is all we'll get for tonight.
I expected
But it
that.
appears like it might be that way.
Yeah.
No additional information currently available. The FBI and local authorities conducting what they call a law enforcement activity at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because it's a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, they say, no additional information is currently available. So Pima making it clear that it's at the FBI's request. Live look as we see.
You heard it there,
FBI
guys. That's the statement.
investigating.
Nothing much
No
more than
additional
that.
information is available at this time. So that's where we here at Live Now are going to wrap our coverage for the evening. We thank anybody who has been staying up late with us. The plan here now is to return to the overnight playlist. The playlist, of course, contains all of the top segments that we've done today. That includes some of the live interviews that we had with our analysts and experts earlier today. I'm Austin.
YouTube, the same as you do on TikTok. They have a feature called the Related Video Manager, which links your shorts to your long form content, helping your views to absolutely skyrocket.
All right, so there you go. So that was a statement from the Pima County Sheriff. No additional information tonight. Tonight, on Nancy Guthrie's case. Now, and the reason is, it's under an investigation. They got to make sure 100,000% that they have the 3 people detained, and they got to make sure that this is a slam dunk as far as they have the right people. Is that they got to be very careful on that, and also they got to notify the family, and that kind of stuff. I guess right now, I would assume that they have the detectives with 3 of them now in different rooms, and trying to get as much information they can. Who will be the rat, so to speak? Who's going to be the rat? Will it be the female rat? Will it be the younger the younger guy, or this other individual who's a male? Who will be the rat? Who will spill? Remember, you have 3's a crowd, and when you have 3, it might work out a little easier, but it also leads to someone being a rat, and that person, eventually somebody will give out all the information. These guys are the best, and I criticize them on how they fumbled it, and I still do, but wood over the dam. But they're going to figure it out. They'll interrogate them. They'll ask them some crazy questions. They'll make them relax. They'll tell them to relax. Relax, relax. You're just being detained. Hey, by the way, did you hear about this case? Nancy Guthrie. How'd you know her? They'll do things like that over and over, just for an example. Hey, who wrote that letter? Hey, that was pretty good. Great letter. Who did it? Anybody here? Who is it? Tell you what, let us know who wrote that letter, and we'll see about you not getting the death penalty. Indeed, something that she's unalive. They'll work out that kind of stuff. They might not rat tonight. They might not rat tomorrow, but they eventually, one person, if not 1, 2, will come out and say, it was he, it was she, it was he, it was her. They will. And then after that, so I don't think you're going to hear a press conference. I don't think you're going to hear a press conference tomorrow, if you ask me. Now, speaking of tomorrow, happy Valentine's Day to everybody on here. Make sure you take care of your husband, your wife, your partner. Enjoy your day. Also get some sleep, guys. This is all important to all of us, but don't let it, rip you up. And when I say, we got to expect the unthinkable, we got to prepare ourselves, because I know a lot of people get very close to this and we think of it like our relatives. So our mom or our stepmom, and we're all different. We all show different emotions. So take care of yourself, get some rest. I will keep you up to date as best I possibly can on there. So, hey, shout out to the moderators on here tonight. Heavy Hook, thank you so much. It's not on notice. There's no words to describe on you. I know it's been late for you and everybody else on here. I tell you what I'll do. I'll take a couple minutes. I'll read a few comments here, and then I think we're going to go off air. I don't think there's anything else. Wait a minute. Hold on. As soon as I say that, wait a minute. Hold on. They got something out here. I don't know what we're going to, hold on.
Definitely, yeah. And we've just moved over. So where we first started, we had just hopped out of the car just to get on this.
Shit. Looks like they're going to cover that.
Over, and you can see FBI agents
are
holding, like you said, this sort of tarp trash bag sort of material, blocking whatever they are looking at or pulling out of the trunk. So yeah, at this point, we can't see it, but they're focusing on this car and making it pretty clear that they don't want the people around it to see what they're doing.
Yeah, they've
Wait a minute.
Those sheets up, or whatever you want to call
They're
them,
looking in the trunk, guys.
Here, shielding from view.
Wait a minute.
Whatever this may be, this is quite interesting here tonight. FBI agents and sheriff's officers We saw them focus on this car. Maybe
Hold on, guys. We'll see what happens.
Culver's parking lot.
Maybe we won't go off.
We couldn't at first figure out what the interest was. They took a lot of photos on the outside before they accessed the inside. Whether it was unlocked, how they got that hatch back open, I don't know.
Maybe they got the warrant.
But
they must have got the search warrant, guys. Look at this.
In there as well as they are searching around in the back part.
Not a good sign.
Again, it's a Range Rover that was just parked in that Culver's parking lot and now has become center of an investigation. And this again comes after those 3 people were detained and a search warrant served at their home. Megan, how far away, you just drove over from that home, so how far away would you say this is from where you were?
Not far. It took us about 5 minutes to get here, but this is certainly more on a main road. The media area where they were looking earlier was in a neighborhood, very residential. Now we're around restaurants, gas stations. It is a major intersection here in Tucson. We've stepped on the other side of where we started when we first hopped on. And now we're getting a better view a little bit. We saw they were blocking off all sides of this trunk. Now it looks like they've closed the trunk. If I'm staring at it correctly, they're pulling down this paper, folding it back up. But again, because they blocked it off, we weren't able to see what they were looking at inside this car.
Yeah, whatever it was, they did not want the media cameras to see it. And the trunk, the hatchback has been closed now. And what comes next? We don't know. They had the license plate covered up with basically a yellow piece of legal paper. We don't know if that was whoever parked the car did that, or if that was from the police or law enforcement, so that nobody would try to look up that license plate and find out who the car belongs to. I'm not sure about that. But again, FBI on scene, Sheriff's Department. You mentioned some police, local police as well, probably just for helping out with whatever they may need, if there's any traffic control in the area to keep people away. And they have now closed that trunk and documented whatever was in the back. So, wow, interesting turn of events out there tonight, Megan. And again, the tweet, the X post that we were all waiting for from Pima County Sheriff's Department kind of turned out to be nothing, not explaining really at all what was going on out there. Here it is. I'll read it to you again. Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue, where Megan was, related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation, at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. No talk of any press briefing, anything like that. So I guess we are still waiting for any information, as we have been really for most of this case, to find out what the status is of the search for Nancy Guthrie. Again, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie taken now that we've passed midnight, or getting close to midnight, 14 days ago it will be. And still no information about where she is, how she's doing, if she's alive. So many questions, we just don't know. And I guess we probably won't be getting that information, Megan. Anything else out there that you can tell us about what's going on tonight, or does it seem like they're kind of wrapping things up at this location?
Hopefully tomorrow they're able to release more information about all of these situations, how they're connected and what they actually found here. But it does look like they might be wrapping up at least.
Going, and we're going to keep an eye on these live pictures as we wait more updates from the Pima County Sheriff's Office on the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Again, you can continue watching this stream, and Fox 10 will be back on the air live starting at 7 o'clock in the morning with the latest in these overnight developments as we just passed the midnight mark. Thank you for joining us here, and again, we will continue streaming these images as they're coming in tonight.
All right, Fox 10, Mark Martinez, logging off for the night. I'm Austin Westfall. I'm going to log off for the night as well. We here at Live Now will continue to monitor any and all developments relating to this scene, which we know is connected to the search for Nancy Guthrie. Fox 10 Phoenix bringing us that broadcast. And we here at Live Now came on broken door overnight playlist. We wanted to make sure that we were live on air just in case we did learn what exactly police have been doing tonight. Just to reset, according to Fox News Digital and many outlets who have sources within the law enforcement there. Fox News Digital specifically says at least 3 people have been detained in connection to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The sources say after receiving a tip, authorities detained 2 males plus one of their moms. The source said a warrant had been served. The source cautioned that during a warrant execution, technically everyone is detained. It's unclear if anybody of those 3 is a suspect. The detainments are coming after law enforcement swarmed an area about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home earlier tonight. The Pima County Sheriff said that they would not be holding a press conference tonight, but instead they would eventually release a written statement. That written statement came out moments ago. It says, law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue.
No, they didn't take the vehicle. The vehicle's still there, still parked there.
This is a joint investigation.
I know there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving vehicles, but it looked like to me the vehicle was still there.
So, what did we end up getting from the statement?
I'm not sure, RB. I mean, that's what...
The FBI is requesting that nothing more than this is shared at this time. Simply that a law enforcement activity, which again, that activity is being reported by Fox News Digital as authorities detaining at least 3 people in connection to the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Unclear if any of those people are a suspect. We will keep you posted as soon as we come back on tomorrow morning. We here at Live Now are going to sign off for the evening. My thanks to producer Julie Gallagher, who came in later than usual for this late night coverage. I'm Austin Westwall. We will see you, well, if you're in the Mountain Time, the Central Time, or the Eastern Time Zone, we'll see you later today. If you're in the Western Time Zone, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.
It looks like, well, now I was hoping maybe they would stay with that. All right. So that's it, folks, I think. So let me make this clear. None of us, unless, I don't know if anybody's in law enforcement on here, just because they blocked out that trunk or covered it up with that yellow tape, I guess they call it, it doesn't mean there's a body in there. It could be that there was something obvious that they didn't want the media to see, you know, because it's under investigation, and if a photo gets taken and it goes right now, you know how things go online, snap of a finger, right? And it can ruin the whole investigation. And then we got to also keep in mind too that they are detained; they're not suspects. So it could be a laptop. I'm just saying, you know, it could be rope, it could be tape, it could be the mask, it could be other gloves. But you heard him say, the news, Fox here, the mother and the son, we don't know who the other male is. Could be the father, could be, you don't know. We don't know if they're Hispanic, we don't know if they're Italian, we don't know. So all we know is 3 are being detained. Mother and son live very close by. We just seen at the very end. I was ready to go off. We seen that yellow tape. It doesn't mean a body's in there. So there's still hope. There's hopes that Nancy is alive. But I continue to say, I just want to point out to everybody, you know, it could work out very not as what we expect. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the good news is, I think this is just a replay. Let me just look up here. Yeah, they're just... Okay, yeah, it's a replay. So what I'm going to do is just lower that. So we'll have to wait and see. I would assume tomorrow morning. you might get a press conference. I don't know. You might not. What I think a lot of people would like to know is, or tomorrow morning, are these people going to be released? Are there going to be more suspects? You know, could there be a fourth person, a fifth person, or just the three? Maybe one will be released. Will one rat? Will one spill the beans? We just have to wait and see. But, you know, this has been a long 13 days, and I'm pretty confident they probably have the right three suspects detained, and they'll farther question them. They won't be sleeping tonight. Detectives will be up around the clock. They'll have the best of the best separated. And at the end of the day, closure for the family of Nancy Guthrie. And then after that, the big question will be, why? What's the motive? What would make these three people do it? Was it for money? Who wrote the ransom notes? Why TMZ? Why a local news outlet? Why play the games? Was it somebody else? Was there another person doing the letters? All that stuff. It's been exhausted for all of us, but think about the family right now. So I'm sure the family, it'll be hard for them to sleep tonight. I wish them well. It's easier said than done, but they gotta have to take care of themselves too. You know, hopefully they can try to get some rest, and you know, they probably already know. I would think that the family would know or have better idea of what we know right now. With that said, guys, I don't know what much more we can say on this case. We've been covering this. Make sure everybody takes care of themselves tonight. Get some rest. I'll go live tomorrow morning as soon as we hear anything. Sounds like that they're all off the air. Yeah, this is all replay. So I'll read a couple comments before we go off here. It is so sad in so many ways. They should not leave the Range Rover there. Well, we don't know. They might not leave it there. Somebody asked me, was it still there? I seen it there. I mean, they have the sheriff department there. I mean, they're gonna. Those two people were not gonna be up all night. They're gonna go home, and a new sheriff. They're gonna be guarding that Range Rover. It's still a crime scene. I would assume they're gonna that Range Rover will probably stay there until they know 100,000% indeed these people did it, and then they'll tow that Range Rover to the crime scene and tear it apart. You know, tear the doors off and everything like that. So, all right. So, it'll probably be there tonight. All right, guys. Have a good night, guys. Pray. Take care of yourself. Get some good sleep. Take care of the Valentine's Day and all that stuff. I got a birthday party for my son going on tomorrow, Valentine's Day. But I will come on as much as I can in between all that. I promise you that. Once again, shout out to the moderators on here. Mike was here earlier. Heavy Hook. High five, fist bump to you. Thank you for those who participated in donations earlier and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you stay with us tomorrow. Have all notifications on. Check out JLR Investigates. I'm sure he'll be live again. He does a fantastic job. And I will see you guys. Have a good night, guys. Take care. Take care of yourself, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Bye.